Warning. This podcast...
Hey everyone, it's Dave from the R Anime Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at HIDIVE. HIDIVE is an awesome anime streaming service that has everything from seasonals to classics to simuldubs. If you listen to the podcast, or if you've been hearing about The Promised Neverland, The Magnificent Kotobuki, Bermuda Triangle, of course, you can find all those and more over at HIDIVE. Heck, I just used them to finish up my own personal rewatch of Penguin Drum. And they also have a fantastic simuldub collection going on as well, including Bloom Into You. And if you use the code provided below, that's TAP 2019 548 3348, you get half off your first month of the HIDIVE subscription. That's $2.49 for a month of unlimited HD anime streaming. They're available at HIDIVE.com, the iOS app, the Android app, and even heck, the Xbox app, which I personally use a ton. And without further ado, it's time for the episode. Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers and coarse language. Your discretion is advised.
Yo, check it out. Yo, it's the podcast. We're back again with another review of another season, the Winter 2019 season, and it's the same people on the last one for the first impressions. But, in case you don't know who they are, first we have, Fate Steel Taylor.
O kawaii koto?
That's some Kaguya ASMR for you guys.
You fucking weeb? What was that?
How cute.
Looks like someone's banned on Twitter.
Oh no, I've been banned on Twitter!
And also, we have the king of shonen herself, Shaman King 807.
Ooh.
People always ask me if I've seen that and if that's what caused my username, like inspired it, and I haven't seen it, and it didn't inspire it, so I feel really left out.
Who's your favorite character in Shaman King, since it's your favorite anime?
I don't even know. I don't even have a good meme answer for this. Because, I literally know nothing about this series.
My favorite is Yo, which is why I was saying it at the beginning. Also, our returning guest from the first impressions is Snowy Nix.
Hey.
Hello. The only thing I know about Shaman King is that it ran after Naruto when I used to watch that on TV, and I didn't care about that at any point, and I always switched the channel when it came on.
Fascinating.
That's it. That's pretty accurate, because Nix always puts me on mute whenever I start talking, so we're staying on brand.
Wait, Shaw, Shaman King would be on brand for you, because halfway through a battle, it just went on hiatus for 10 years.
Yes, that is me. So relatable. Let's go. I'm watching the show now.
This is Welcome to the Shaman King podcast, everybody.
Y'all just got baited hard.
The second season is going to be called Shaman King 807.
But it's actually about Shaman King.
It's actually really funny, given an episode that Nix technically doesn't know about right now, but will actually have been posted after or before this podcast. That makes no sense. Anyway, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about some winter anime now. The ones that we'll start with the ones that have ended, and assuming this doesn't go over 2 hours like all the other ones have, we'll talk about some of the ones that are carrying over into next season. As usual, we're only talking about the shows that we actually watched, which is most of them. We basically got the essentials here. We're going to spoil the shit out of some of these, but I'll just mark wherever we post the timestamps in the description and the comments. I'll let you know which ones have major spoilers that really go deep into the plot, because that will be necessary for some of these discussions.
Indeed.
But that all being said, we can just get started with our first show, the Quintessential Quintuplets.
So when you said
that we've got the essentials, I really was thinking that it was gonna carry over into some sort of pun.
Yeah, I was gonna be or do you mean the quintessentials of the season?
You're welcome to interpret that however you wish. But yeah, I figured we should start the episode off with a good old-fashioned waifu war. Who doesn't love that?
I don't know.
I don't.
I think we all love
because
that.
I didn't watch
Who
it.
doesn't love a good old waifu war?
I think we.
Yo, anime existed because of waifu wars.
That's
That's
true.
not wrong. Yeah.
Why do you think it's the abbreviations are like WW1 and WW2? It's Waifu War 1 and Waifu War 2.
Coincidence?
I think not. By the way, USA undefeated in back-to-back Waifu Wars.
Yo, but we don't even have an American in it. This isn't fair. Like, we don't even have an American
Chitoge and Nisukoi is half.
Yeah, they always gotta
American.
be half. They can't be, like, full-on American, because that would just be, like, not worthy.
I know.
Yeah, so...
Well, in Hanayome, we don't have any half Americans because they're all related to each other.
Wow.
Except the guy. It's not one of those shows.
That would be next level, but we'll get to that one later. Yeah, so I mean, I like this show. I think it's surprisingly wholesome in a way that I didn't really anticipate, so I kind of appreciate it being more about them all just, like, hanging out, and, like, it's kind of more about, like, you know, it's kind of about them, like, forming friendships and stuff, even though, like, they're all developing feelings for him, too. Like, they don't make it feel, like, really trashy compared to another show that we'll get to, but they make it, like, a pretty fun time. So I kind of enjoy just, like, watching an episode and seeing them get involved in, like, quintuplet romantics, and Miku is best girl. That's it.
Yeah. Like, I grew up on, like, Love Hina. That was, like, one of the first non-shonen manga I read. Or, like, non-battle shonen manga. So, like, Love Hina, then I went on to To Love Ru, then I went on to Nisekoi, of course. And so, like, Hanayome, like, felt very akin to that. Like, lighthearted, like, occasionally too ecchi, but not, like, To Love Ru darkness ecchi.
I feel like it doesn't even really have that much fan service, besides, like, even the times that they do have fan service, it's not even, like, that much.
There have definitely been worse.
Yeah.
And then, like the craziest thing for me is just how stacked this voice acting cast is.
Yeah.
For Hanayome, because, like, the main is Matsuoka. Then you have Inori Minase, Kanahana, Ayane Sakura. Like, what the heck? How did they get everyone into the show?
Yeah, that makes it really interesting. Like, I like seeing how there's so many stacked voice actors here.
And as usual, Hanakana. Actually, no, Hanakana isn't the best in Nisekoi, but for this one, she is the best, because Ichika best girl.
If you think so. I actually like her. See, that's the thing, is I like all the girls. Like, I actually, like, can't even slay that much, because I don't think there's, like, a really clear-cut worst girl in the show. I think they're all, like, pretty enjoyable to watch.
I'm not a huge fan of Nino.
Well, yeah, Nino is definitely going to be one of those, let's call her a grower, not a shower, where her development will, like, probably be much better, like, later on. And, like, I'm sure she gets, like, a lot better in the manga, because she's so, like, you know, she's such an asshole at this point in the show. But, like, yeah, I actually have come to appreciate her somewhat. I don't know why. I just, like, I like her now, but she was definitely the roughest at the beginning. But yeah.
Not knowing anything about the Quintuplets show, whenever somebody says Nino, all I can think of is that one meme on the Gordon Ramsay channel.
Hello, my name's Nino!
Yes! Sometimes.
Oh, the idiot sandwich?
Yeah.
Oh, man. No. Yeah, and, like, Yotsuba, like, I didn't think I would like either, but, like, Ayane Sakura did a really good job with her, I thought.
Yeah, I think she does pretty good, because I'm not a big Ayane Sakura fan, but I think she does a good job as that character. Like, she's really Genki, but not too much. And I think they finally found, like, a good role for her, especially in the last arc where they're all going skiing. Like, I really appreciated her a lot there. So, yeah, like, even she managed to do, like, be really impressive, even though I know it's somewhat of a meme of, like, Yotsuba development for the manga readers.
Oh, Amaz, make sure to mark that as a major spoiler that they go skiing, because, you know, obviously.
Yeah, ruined.
Ruined, absolutely ruined. Maz, what did you think of this show? Because remember, early on, you really liked the initial premise for why Itsuki didn't like the main character, self-insert Kun.
I did, and then, I don't know, afterwards I just didn't really get anything out of the show, so I just dropped it after episode 3.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I actually... Yeah,
like, there wasn't Okay, here's the thing about Hanayome. This is definitely... I definitely would have kept up with this more maybe a year or two ago, because this is something that... Like, it's probably really fun to watch this show weekly and talk about it with community, because again, it's a big waifu war show.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to have, to talk about it like that. I don't really do that anymore. I don't really keep up with shows weekly anymore, unless it's something that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, who knows? But yeah, I fell behind on this and then started catching up. And after episode 3, it's like, nothing about it was specifically bad, but it's like, nothing was funny to me. Honestly, it was just whatever. I watched episodes 2 and 3, and it was like, okay, that was fine, but it wasn't doing anything for me. So that's
For me, when you have like these waifu war harem rom-coms, like a Nisekoi, like a Love Hina, like even a Masamune-kun's Revenge, I feel like the fake plot that's going on to try and like justify the waifu war has to actually kind of be compelling. And to me, like, Love Hina's, to me, is the best one. Like the two, like the main characters wanting to go to Tokyo University, both being in cram school and like studying to try and take the entrance exams again. Like, they actually remembered that plot point the whole way through. Nisekoi, by the end, like, everyone forgot that they were just pretending to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I missed that too. Yeah.
Like, that stuff was fun. And then, like Masamune-kun no Revenge, like the anime and like the anime was short-lived, so like we didn't really see it fully fleshed out, but like they did like continually have it in the background. But here it's like, guys, we have to make sure you guys pass, right? That's a plot point.
Yeah. And they definitely stay on that a lot. And I think one of the strengths of the show is also that the main guy, to me, doesn't really feel like that much of a self-insert. Like, he definitely has his own thing going on. He has his own personality, his goals. Like, it's not, groundbreaking stuff, but it's a lot more than you get from other harem series.
Right.
Like, he's definitely got it, like, with the whole, like, his family is poor and he's trying to make money and try and support his sister because his dad is a deadbeat. So I feel like that, plus his, like, need to study and get good grades, not necessarily wanting to, is, like, a lot more compelling than you get from most main characters in that series.
Right.
And it's not like he's a complete pushover, too. Like, he has his own personality, he stands up for himself. A lot of the conflicts with Nino, like, he'll, like, tell her off and stuff. And I think that makes it a bit more interesting, because you can see how they would grow attached to him,
Right.
Yeah, but I definitely, I wouldn't call this a must-watch. I think it was just a fun show to watch weekly, as you said, and kind of, like, keep up with the waifu wars. And I don't think it really looked as good as it could have. I know a lot of manga readers were complaining that it looked really crappy compared to the manga art. So,
have they ever said anything otherwise, manga readers, about the source material?
I've actually seen some screenshots of this, and it was some real, like, quality stuff, like quality with spaced out letters.
We'll get to some quality anime later on in the episode.
That could apply to so many.
That's true.
So I feel like it's one of those where it's definitely not a must-watch, but it was fun along the ride. Yeah, along the way. Yeah.
I mean, I said in the previous episode that, like, this isn't something that, like, just because I'm not picking up that much stuff this season, like, that's the only reason I didn't watch this. Otherwise, I probably would have, and maybe would have liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it just didn't seem all that appealing at first glance compared to all the other stuff that's coming out this season.
You could probably just look at the character designs and pick a best girl from that and try and have a waifu war along that way. And that probably would be a better use of your time. And that's what I think I would value, is just fighting based on character designs.
Yes.
I don't know, though. I don't think this show has particularly strong character designs.
I mean, they are quintuplets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also, like, the weird thing about it, which means they literally have the same body type, and that's just really weird in a harem
I kind of love
anime.
that, though. I low-key love that they make their design just, like, slightly different, but you really have to decide based on their personality in a way. Like, you really can't just judge them based on their, like, breast size, because they all have the same kind. And I kind of like that, because every other harem has, like, very different body types, so you have, like, it's kind of like when you're choosing a fighting game and you choose, like, your main based on that. Like, I kind of just...
This is just... They're all Echo fighters.
Yeah. But I like it in a weird way because, you know, they're just making it like you really have to pick based on their personality, which is kind of a weird way of going about a harem series, but it does make it stand out compared to a lot of other ones.
No,
So
I immediately
suppose
went
that's
for the
true.
short hair girl, Itsuki.
Yeah,
Like, that was easy for me. I don't know what
but
you're
it's not a
like,
bob cut.
It's not, but it's, you know, like
Close enough.
Yotsuba kind of has a bob cut, but she has the ribbon as well. But
Yeah.
What do you got about ribbons?
I don't like
I've got
I don't
nothing
like
bad
the,
about ribbons.
I don't like the
Yo.
ribbons that much for Nino, but I think
Uh-huh.
if she had shorter hair, that would look good.
And
But
the ribbons are weird because usually with the ribbons like that to the side, you usually have twin tails too. But like
Yeah.
her hair is also long, so it's like,
I
for what
appreciate no
reason do
twin
you have the
tails.
ribbons?
yeah.
Yeah, there are only very few people who can pull off twin tails. Like, I feel like the list of, like, especially if you're over, like, the age of 7.
Yeah, 100%. And
Like-
I was drawn to Miku for the headphones immediately, so I feel this.
And
I will
also,
say-
you love Miku Hatsune, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so it was all planned from the start.
I never realized this, but like it's true that I can't really think of any like great characters with like twin tails and
The only one I can think of who, like, pulls it off is Rin Tosuga.
oh yeah,
Same here. And,
the only
and
one I
people
can
like her
think
for
of-
her thighs, not for the twin tails.
No,
I mean,
it's
only
the
one-
twin tails that helps. So, like, you can only have S rank ZR if you have so, like, you need A rank ZR plus tsundere personality and twin tails. And that's
It
why.
all comes together.
Oh, you
to
know who
form the top
also
tier
does
waifu.
it? Fate Bisky. Bisky does it. That's it.
Oh, but those are drills, aren't they?
Is that different?
No,
Are we
you're talking
differentiating
Bisky. Wait, Bisky and Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
Does she? I
Well,
thought
she
she had a
kinda did.
ponytail.
It was short lived. And then it became a ponytail. But
Yeah, no. She had a pony. No, Shaw. You can't lie to me about hairstyles
did.
in anime.
they found
Miss
the
me
true
with
thing.
that shit.
The only one I could think of off the top of my head, because I've been reading it recently, was Yasuo from JoJo Part 8. But I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
any of you
She
have
looks cute.
read that. But,
Yeah.
I really, really love her character design though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so,
we're getting off topic here. Sorry.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
we're good. I think we can
more,
wrap up.
More importantly, to this podcast, we have a very, very big show to talk about
Oof,
right
yeah.
here called
Yes.
Domestic Girlfriend.
Yes.
Someone say Dome Kano. I came as fast as I could.
Okay, first off,
Hello, Nostream. I
before we
didn't know
actually
you were
talk
in this
about
call.
before we talk about Dome Kano, Fate, I actually owe you an apology because in the first impressions, I was setting up for what seemed like Dome Kano, and then I went into Bermuda Triangle. That wasn't a joke. I legitimately just read the list wrong. I wasn't trying to fuck with you, so I have an
I was
apology.
But I like that.
I
Yeah,
was so
but I
excited to talk about domestic girlfriend, and
That
I was
was-
just.
I absolutely love that setup because you could hear the legitimate excitement in Fate's voice.
I know. It's like,
And then was just
that's
saying,
really embarrassing, though. So
Bermuda
I have like this apology written now. So just
Oh shoot!
yeah, I know. So this will be quick. All right. I'm sorry. All right, let's talk about domestic.
Wait, that could win the first prize at the Amateur Author Awards.
That's my slam
Domekano.
poetry.
What is the man of few words?
Oh my gosh. This series is just such a ride. I got into so many fights with people on Twitter about it. I'm so hype. Let's go.
It's first of all, this is one of those shows where you can immediately tell who best girl is based on haircut,
You
and that is
can.
of course Rui. 'cause
Rui's
she has-
design is so fucking good. Like I don't,
Yes.
I didn't watch this show. I don't care about it, but her design is so well
Her
done.
pouts are Yo Shaw. You are the connoisseur of pouts.
That is my
the
thing.
connoisseur of
Yes,
pouts.
that sounds like how I'd pronounce it,
That was a
correct.
mediocre one.
Yeah. See, she has some great pouts. I think Rui was kind of like best girl from the start after we could see pretty clearly how much of a that Hino was. But Rui's design and like actions
slay.
and pouts are great. What?
Nothing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Rui was great, and the pouts definitely confirm that. Are me and Faith the only ones who've seen it?
Probably.
I only saw one episode.
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all.
Nick sang the OP, and it sounded really good. Is that on Panic's
It
YouTube
is.
channel?
We were talking about the Domekano OP one day in chat, and I said
Yep.
how I really, really liked it, and somebody told me to sing it, and so I did. It was just kind of on a whim, and then Panic took that and made it into a meme video.
Okay,
Wow.
it sounded legitimately. It sounded legitimately good. Like I want that to be the opening.
Oh please, I'm not that good.
Speaking of openings and Panic, how'd you like that podcast intro made by Panic?
That's a great one. Like, it amazes me how he's able to pump these high quality shitposts out on with such frequency and quality.
Yeah. Panic is the real MVP. So for him, I'm glad that Domekano exists. Overall, I guess my opinions on the show have not changed since last time. I think it's a really fun melodrama kind of trashy show, but I think it plays itself really well within those confines. It knows what it is and it doesn't try for more. So I really kind of respect it for being just such a spectacle of ridiculous over the top drama. And for, staying true to being kind of kind of trashy, romance where, if characters want to hook up, they will, they don't beat around the bush that much. So I appreciate them for knowing what they want to do.
They do beat off in the bush, though.
They do. That also being said, it's also it's kind of tough because I read some of the manga just on a whim, and it's a lot more explicit in the sexual content, especially the 0.5 chapters, which are just straight up hentai. But I kind of feel since the anime isn't going to show us straight up sex scenes, it kind of loses a bit of the appeal because
loses the
what a
lewd.
disaster.
What?
Loses the lewd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lose the lewd. No.
No, you lost it. Yeah. So it's you kind of need that full package of just going all out with the sex scenes and with the drama for me to really make it feel like that full on entertaining package of just being ridiculous and, balls to the wall extreme. So sometimes when they cut it out, it's just a little less exciting because you're okay, I know they're trying to be smutty with this, but they're not really portraying it as well as they could have. Besides the one masturbation scene, which was really dank. That was just funny. And then, that was just hysterical.
I was just I just had flashbacks to Code Geass, where I was are they?
Oh, no, another table kun situation.
Oh no! I just remember being what is happening? They're breathing really heavily. Are they crying? It's no. It's tears are not what.
Oof.
Yes, we get
it. It's so dank. But
yeah.
Fate, what did you think? Because you doubted the power of domestic girlfriend in our first podcast. How do you feel now?
Well, the thing is that it feels weird because the first two anime for sure on this on this podcast, this also brought me back to once I started reading romance shonens and manga like that. I moved on to the pinnacle of manga, which is of course everything written by Seo Koji, Kimi no Irumachi, A Town Where You Live, Suzuka, and of course Fuka, where it's just
Fuka.
Oh my god, what the Fuka?
What the Fuka,
And it's just growing up with really shittily handled rom-drams that where people don't actually act like human beings, but it's just overly dramatic for the sake of juicy drama. It's basically a soap opera.
Yeah, and I think it's important to distinguish soap operas from dramas because so many people really do enjoy soap operas, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong writing with that intention, Right.
And obviously that genre does well because people some people really like reading trashy stuff. My favorite thing is my realization is that sometimes anime people will be people who keep up with reality TV shows or trash, and meanwhile they put on domestic Kanojo or domestic...
it's that's what I thought of too. I was this is the equivalent of watching the Jersey Shore. I mean, the Jersey Shore is better, but we're not getting into that. But it's that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with watching it, and you can value it a lot for entertainment value. If you're entertained, it's doing its job, and there's nothing wrong with. What?
Being from Jersey, I will also stand the Jersey Shore, but no one in Jersey Shore fucked their sister, so I don't know if you can.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yo, all we needed for this show was what, the grenade whistle? That's what we needed.
Gosh.
Yeah, that's
being from the Jersey Shore, I'm just I wonder if that's how people in Japan feel about domestic Kanojo. They're everyone who has stepsisters. Yep, this is how I feel now.
Yo,
This
I
is
gotta
me.
love. Can we spoil the ending for Nix and Maz? Like, do they care? Do you guys care?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so the last episode was definitely the funniest episode for me because
Scream!
dude, he was okay. So, like, quick context for you guys and anyone who like didn't give a shit about spoilers and didn't see it. So, like, so the main dude and the teacher start hooking up, and they get found out, and the school
She's
finds
his older sister
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
yeah, she's his older sister and his teacher. So double the spice.
Also,
but-
like, I think he's pretty much underage, and she's like a teacher. So
Yeah, he's like 17, and she's probably like 25 or 26.
Is it,
something
I think it was
like
a
that.
first year. Anyway,
I don't know. Anyway, they got caught. Someone took a picture of them hooking up, and then the school found out. So she has to like immediately leave, like cut off contact with him, and she moves and transfers to another school. And she wrote a letter for him to say like, oh, I had to do this to protect you, but I'll always love you. And she uses, what is it, like aishiteru? Like,
yeah, Aishiteru.
Yeah.
so it's not just like, oh, I really like you. It's like, yo, this is the real shit. And then, so naturally the main character goes to like some park or shit, and he just screams. And I swear it was like the Shinji Ava scream. Like it was that tier of like, he's getting tortured physically, so he has to do the giant scream. I was crying from laughter. It was so funny. He's just
Yeah.
like, I can't hook up with my teacher, no! He's just like screaming to the distance.
Meanwhile, Rui, who is objectively the best, is literally like, "Yo, can I get in your pants now? Can I get
Now
in your
my
pants?"
sister's not here to get in my way. I'm not holding back, so now it's time to smash. Like,
Wait,
that
that
was her
sounds like a
logic.
great Ellen title. Now that
Yo.
my sister's out of the way, I don't have to hold back to get into your pants and smash.
This is like Dr. Phil's shit. We gotta send them all to the ranch. Like, none of this.
We need to sell them all to the Grace Field House.
Yeah. Yo, they could use some education.
Speaking
but-
of Dr. Phil, no.
oh my
Man,
god.
Fate
Yeah.
is
Oh
like-
man! By the way, you can
like
hear
me,
yeah.
like the same exact thoughts that went through my head, only I didn't say them out loud because I thought that they just wouldn't fit at all. But Fate goes through with them anyway. Because like as
I
soon
got
as
you.
she mentioned
No
Dr.
filter,
Phil,
no
I thought
filter.
Promised Neverland, but like I didn't say anything about that because
Perfect. We're all on point.
No filter.
No, we're not even at that section yet. We can't go that far.
No.
But anyway,
But
so yeah,
you know
domestic
who did
girlfriend.
go that far? The MC, he got it on with both sisters. That's and Rui still. Oh, also
Oh, wait.
Hina. The best part about that ending shot is that Hina gets a bot cut at the end.
That is. Wait, did you feel conflicted when you saw Hina with a bob cut?
Oh, it was. I had several people PMing me asking me who my favorite girl
how-
was afterwards.
How many people were like, "Yo, she has a bob cut now. We got to find out from Fate who the real best girls."
It was several.
Oh my god, how are you
Because-
known now for the bob cut shit?
I know.
This is like your thing.
I know. It's like it used to be Mabroon with the ponytails.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Mab. But now it's me with the bob cuts. But yeah, like, Hina look good with bob cut. But yeah, like I gotta give it to Rui and
OG
I-
bob cut.
OG bob cut. Like it was like it's like the Bane in the Dark Knight Rises scene. You merely adopted the bob cut. I was raised,
I was
in it,
raised
molded
by it, molded by it.
I didn't see a proper haircut until I was a man.
Oh my god. Oh wait, there's also like a lot of other hidden humor in the show that like was not intended to be humor, but I found it. Where I love that the other teacher who's like in charge of the literature club with him, like he had a suspicion that the main character was hooking up with Hina because of his like short stories he kept writing.
Right.
So I'm like, this dude just keeps writing fanfics of him fucking his teacher, and now the other teacher knows because he's just probably writing like smutty fanfics and shit. And then he's like, yeah, I had a feeling based on what he wrote. And then that was like unintentionally funny, but I thought it was hysterical.
And then it wins an award.
Yeah, then he
Yo.
wins an award for his smutty fanfic. So we got some
Never-
real 50 Shades going on right now.
Never let your memes be dreams.
And then his parents were like, should we have never gotten married? Like, how would they have known that their kids are all suspect as fuck and just wanted to smash all the time? Like, how would they have known?
Yeah, like the parents were actually low-key like the MVPs. They were actually like reasonably good human beings.
They did
like,
nothing wrong. They didn't
they were-
deserve this.
They were early on when they noticed like some drama and like tension between the siblings. They were like, "Oh, we don't know what's going on. Maybe they're lashing out because we remarried." And so like
Nope.
they come home and they have like divorce papers that they're about to sign because they're like, "We love you kids so much that like we just want to give you a proper family home."
They
And
just
then-
wanted the best, but no.
And
They
then
get
like
these suspects.
and then Hina's just like, "Yo, legit, what if we just started fucking?"
What if we just smash? Our parents will appreciate this later down the line.
Yeah.
Now,
But-
I have I guess two questions actually. Number
Mhm.
one, what would you rate it? And number two, what would you rate it with ghost peppers?
Ooh. Okay. I
There
think
was
it's
a lot of spice even without ghost peppers.
what are the ghost peppers scale? Like how many ghost peppers can we give?
How
I don't
spicy
know.
was it? It
Okay.
was pretty spicy.
I'll give it 2 out of 3 ghost peppers, and it would have a 3 ghost peppers if they actually had full-on sex scenes. That also applies that I gave it a 5 out of 10, and it would get a 6 out of 10 with full-on sex scenes. So,
Shaw's
really
just a
the-
G-Gen. That's
look,
what it is.
it's a D-Gen show, and it didn't go as full D-Gen as it could have, and that's where I'm at. I want the full D-Gen in my soap operas.
Always go full D-Gen.
Yeah. But I think it's fun, so it's not a mean.
I gave it a 3 or 4 citruses.
You're sweet. I
How
thought
many
you were
ghost
actually
peppers
giving it
is that
more.
worth?
Yeah, how many ghost peppers? That's the real one.
Ooh, I'd say 1.5 ghost peppers. I felt like there could be more spice. 1.5 ghost peppers out of 3. So I think
Okay.
if there was like a third sister, I think it might have gone
you,
up.
you need to have a harem of sisters. It can't just be a love triangle.
I think you need 5 sisters. I think that's the
Quintuplets.
optimal.
They must be the same age and have the same bust size and similar designs. Then
I
we
think-
go all out.
I think. Wait, what if we just combine domestic girlfriend with the domestic quintuplets?
I'm down if we keep the main character from Quintuplets. Then I'm down.
Can we also add Rui?
Yeah, that's fine. This is
Okay.
fair. But
Okay.
also, shout out to possibly the most interesting character in this series, which is like the gay ex-Yakuza cafe owner.
Yo.
He like actually has like a low-key interesting story that they
Uh-huh.
could make into like a separate story and it would be good. But instead he's in this show.
It's actually crazy, like how the side characters are done well,
Yeah.
but the main characters are like dumb as rocks. Like the
weird.
Yakuza cafe owner, like has a really like compelling storyline about like how he left his Yakuza family and like when he realized he was in love with one of the other gang leaders in a rival Yakuza clan.
Yeah.
And like choosing love over your destiny and like over hurdles and stuff. And like the main character's best friend is just like a total bro, although he's not a total bro. That I found was unrealistic because there's that one point where the main character is telling Rui, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just hanging at my friend's house. That's where I'm at." When he's like hooking up with his older sister at her apartment, and then Rui finds the friend and he's like, "Oh, like sorry, my brother has been like hanging out at your place all the time and like being an inconvenience to you." And the friend's like, "What? Like I haven't seen him in forever." And I'm like, that is the least realistic thing. Like I'm telling you right now, is like if one of my friends, their girl came up to me and was like, "Oh, like how has John been? Like have you guys been having fun?" Like when he's coming over, I'd be like, "Yo, like, yeah, we had a great time. We played a lot of Smash. We were playing some Apex Legends. Actually, he's sobering up at my house right now if you can't find him." So I was like, that's not a bro move. That's not, that's breaking the bro code.
Not
But in
Gucci.
any case, Domestic Kanojo was a lot of fun. The OP was also really good too. I really liked it.
Very good OP. The OP gets 3 chili peppers.
Yes, very spice. Very,
Very
hot.
spice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to hear about a train wreck show that I'm not watching.
It feels very out of place. I'm not sure how to handle it.
Yeah,
This-
wait, that's weird. That
This is
weird.
literally the reverse Koito Uso, because that was a show that I thought was like a really stupid train wreck, and everyone else was just like, "What? No." And literally the way everyone felt about that show is how I feel about this one. So I don't know what's going on. It's very strange.
It
I feel
is kind of interesting how we're getting more and more soap operas, though. Kind of like Koito Uso and also Kuzu no Honkai Scum's Wish.
Yeah, people have compared this to Kuzo no Honkai and have said that Kuzo no Honkai is better because it's, I guess, more serious and grounded, but I take the opposite approach that...
Is Kuzo no Honkai more grounded?
Exactly. So I'm like, I take the opposite approach that this is better because it plays within the confines a lot better and doesn't pretend to be like a super serious show without putting the effort into it, you know?
Super serial.
Super serial. Anyway, we got more shows.
Yeah.
Also, Kuzo no Honkai and Domekano both had girls with bob cuts, so...
Does this show?
saying.
Does this next one have girls with bob cuts?
Oh, does it have a girl with bob cuts?
Does it? I don't even know.
And also, Nix finally gets to talk about the magnificent Kotobuki.
Kotobukiya.
No, it's not Kotobuki.
Oh, Kotobuki. No, Kotobuki has a fucking...
It's called Kouya no Kotobuki.
Anime figure company. Oops.
So it's, yeah, I mean, I haven't even finished this show just yet. I like it. I think it's pretty good. I just haven't quite found the time to finish it just yet. It's what the fuck?
No, I don't mind. Don't worry.
So it's, if anybody doesn't know, it's about a squadron of girls that's called the Kotobuki, and they fly on. It's like in this kind of vaguely post-apocalyptic kind of desert landscape kind of world, where, you know, they like basically just like trade for resources with people, and they're like a company that can be hired to like protect various like envoys and whatever. And basically they're a squadron of girls that fly like fighter planes, and apparently this is like pretty accurate according to the people who are more knowledgeable about like planes and stuff than me. So yeah, and like the thing that most people know this show for is its very inconsistent use of 3D versus 2D character animation, which like
the main characters are all consistently 3D CG, except for I believe when Zara is in disguise and then she gets briefly drawn in 2D.
You know, it's not even consistent among the main characters, because there were scenes even outside of that when they were briefly in 2D, and I think I think the main reason about that, I think the main reason for that is mainly just like models. Like if they don't have the correct model for a certain outfit that, like, you know, a character needs to be in, then they will just draw them in 2D. And like if a character isn't important enough to warrant making an entire 3D model, then they'll also just be drawn in 2D, which can be a bit. It can be pretty jarring.
Jarring at times. Yeah,
but like, I don't know. I got used to that relatively quickly. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a problem, because it is. It kind of looks like shit sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got used to it. The main reason I like this show is because I think, I mean, its characters are not extremely developed. Like most of them are like kind of one note kind of, you know, characters that each one of them has a little quirk or something. But like what I like about this show is that I think the dialogue and the banter between all of them is legitimately quite well written and funny. And it can get very rapid fire at points. Like this is a pretty fast-paced anime. But you know, it's still pretty enjoyable for what it is, and also the dog fights are very well animated. They're obviously all in 3D, and that is where this show's use of CG really shines, I would say. Even though it's the same studio that did Berserk 2016.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up, I don't know how necessary this is, but it's the studio who did Berserk 2016. Oh, there was a 2017
there was.
one as well. And also, the other studio did Mars of Destruction.
Wow, what a comeback tour.
Seriously? I thought that was all like Idea Factory,
Yeah.
which is like the one studio that, you know, that one crazy guy has that makes all those shitty animes like Mars of Destruction and Skelter Heaven or something. I don't know. Well, anyway, we're getting off topic. What I wanted to say is that the dogfights look pretty great. They're pretty enjoyable, even though
Yeah, the dogfights are fantastic.
they are great, and they feel really dynamic, and just the CG really shines to its full potential. The one thing I don't like about them is that sometimes it can get a little bit difficult to differentiate between friend and foe. Like I don't exactly know who they are and who they're supposed to be fighting, and it can get a little bit disorienting at times, especially when most of the time we aren't even introduced to the enemies as characters. They're just planes that show up. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time.
Also, the enemies always survive after getting shot. It's like a couple bullets, and then it's like, oh no, I'm going to slowly drift to the bottom and parachute out. It's going to be fine. But yeah, no, but for me, I just like, you know, followed whatever the colors of the wings were, and that was usually fine. But yeah, like my dad was in the Korean Air Force as a first lieutenant, and raised me on the idea of planes and shit, and I loved planes and the idea of dogfights.
The sound design is also really good.
Yeah. So the fights were great. It sounded really good. Like, it's one of those weird things where the sound of the planes really made it feel immersive, and a lot of the shots I feel like couldn't have been done unless it was in 3D CG.
Yeah, definitely.
Could not have been done without a much better equipped studio with a much better budget and like for animators or whatever in time, unless it was in 3D CG. So it was really cool to see. The OP and the music in general was really good. Like, there was a lot of jazz influence.
The beginning of the ED, I always think it's Warawanai from Shinsekai Yori.
Oh, yeah. It does have a little bit of the Warawanai Ringo feel to it. And then Kirie is the best because she has a bob cut and she eats lots of pancakes.
She's cute.
So,
I mean, all of them are very one-note characters, but they're enjoyable enough in their interactions.
Mm-hmm. I thought they were magnificent enough. It's called the Magnificent Kotobuki. So
something that's really interesting is that the director is also listed as the sound director, which I've never seen that combination before.
I mean, something that I didn't know when going into the series, but when it was pointed out to me, I felt like, well, that's pretty obvious now. Is that the director is the same guy who did Girls and Panzer?
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He also did a lot of Crayon Shin-chan.
And he did Shirobako.
That makes sense.
Oh, wait, he's the dude who did Shirobako and Mayoiga.
And in Shirobako, they did an anime of girls flying in fighter planes.
Yeah, they did do that.
This is on brand.
What the fuck?
Which, if you know, Shirobako specials, Shirobako has specials.
Yo, the Shirobako specials are legit.
They are great. They are the first episodes, episode 1 of each of the anime that they created within the series. So they made 2 anime in the series, and the specials are the first episodes of those anime, and they're really enjoyable. And
That's awesome.
I actually really liked the first one of the fighter pilot girl anime, and I probably would have actually watched that if that was like a real seasonal coming out. So I guess we're getting that now.
Kotobuki or Kotobuki. Damn, I keep saying Kotobuki because
it's Kouya Kotobuki.
That's an actual. So yeah. But anyway. So you have Kotobuki. Yeah, it's a good plane show. It's a fun plane show.
Yeah.
I always thought there was gonna be more to it. Like I thought they were gonna go into like a Sound of the Sky, Sora no Woto direction with like the apocalyptic feel of it all. But they never did, which in of itself is fine. But I guess it just wasn't a show with like all that ambition. It was just the director wanting to do a show with like dog fights and stuff.
I feel like the main thing that sells it to me, except for the great dog fights, of course, is just the general feel of like the dialogue. I would say it feels a lot more like kind of bantery than like in most anime. Like it's kind of like, you know, because Japanese people don't generally have that sort of sense of like sarcasm and stuff like that, you know, like when you say something you like genuinely mean it, but like they actually feel like these characters talking to each other actually feel a lot of the time like they're like being really snarky and sarcastic often, which I don't know, it just feels kind of weirdly natural in a way that I haven't really truly experienced in anime. I don't know, that's just an observation I had.
That's cool. What would you guys score this?
Right now I have it at a 7. I also have only watched 7 episodes though. It's a 7. I don't know. It's like a 6 to a 7. I don't know. When I'm feeling less generous, I might change it to a 6. But yeah, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I give it the famous 6.5 out of 10. So.
Excellent.
Masterpiece tier.
Well,
wait, was that? Were you trying to do an Apex Legends meme?
No, I think he was doing it. She was doing a donkey meme. I think
that was an intended donkey meme.
Because it sounded like Mozambique here. So
excellent.
The
next few shows, I think we've only 1 or 2 of us have seen them. It's a kind of a weird season overall, but next one is Boogiepop.
I guess that's me. I think
Yeah.
I'm the only one who watched it. And I just finished it like an hour before we started recording. So
Excellent.
yeah, I got to keep it close to the belt on finishing these things right before the deadline. Boogiepop was an interesting show with interesting concepts that I think the execution was really hit or miss depending on the arc.
I guess they sometimes miss, yeah.
I didn't know where that was going because I was like, how is he going to meme Boogiepop? And then I realized it was just a TikTok meme.
Every time
which-
somebody says hit or miss, you just have to expect a hit or miss meme.
I do like that one.
Yeah, whenever they say hit or miss, you have to make them never miss, huh?
You got to do the full ha though, like the
Ha.
Kanye, like that one. Yeah, so I just finished, and it's really cool. Like I really like a lot of the ideas they have, where it's essentially like, you know, normal modern day society in Japan and like a city, but they have a lot of like supernatural elements that are shown to kind of illustrate the pressure and stress that people feel on a regular basis. So you've seen that before. We've all seen that before in a lot of light novel adaptations where they take supernatural elements to try and represent real life situations. And I think, I'm not going to say Boogiepop was one of the first ones, but I know that it was such an influential series that I think it inspired a lot of the trends we see today. And you can definitely see that going from arc to arc. And I think my biggest gripe is that some of the presentation methods look a bit oof. Like we were talking about quality before and like the meme way, like quality shots. I think that really applies to the presentation of Boogiepop. But then you'll also have times where it looks really cool and they have some really interesting directing and shot composition. So it's really a mixed bag. But overall, I think I gave it like a 7 because I really did enjoy watching Boogiepop and I enjoy thinking about it. But I'm probably going to go back and either read the first novel, which I got like a couple weeks back, but I'm definitely also going to watch the first Boogiepop anime that came out back in the early 2000s because I have a feeling the presentation will be a lot more interesting.
So about
But
Boogiepop
the soundtrack
fandom,
was-
is not like from the novels, is it? Is like something different? I'm not exactly sure on how that works.
I think the novels take place, from what I heard, is they take place after the first arc. Like the first arc events aren't covered. It's everything like that happens after that.
Mhm.
So I think it's covering like either other novels or it's just based off of
Okay.
that. Either way, I'm not sure. I know it covers different content than this one does. But that's about it. I'll have to find out and report back.
Okay.
Yeah. But the soundtrack was also really great. It is done by the legend. I always say his name wrong. Who did... And he's like my favorite
Kensuke
too.
Ushio?
So it's really embarrassing.
Yeah,
Kensei Ushio. And he does a really great job at creating this really great sound that always feels like disoriented. So everything feels kind of disconnected. So you can really tell when characters are kind of at their mental breaking points or just feel like something is really off with it. So he does a really great job with that. That's probably the best part of the series, along with some of the ideas. But I think it's worth checking out if you're interested in it. But if you check it out and you're not really invested, I don't think it's a must-watch. So
What if I really just want to watch it for Kensuke Ushio?
you could just listen to the soundtrack that I think just got uploaded to Spotify.
Ooh, what?
Ooh.
Okay, I'm adding that to my Spotify playlist
Yeah, or-
because
yeah.
Kensuke Ushio is my boy.
He is my man. Yeah, he's
Wait,
a
he's
young legend.
Are you trying to steal my man?
Yeah, he was mine first.
Was
Bruh.
he?
Yeah, I called him as soon as I heard the Ping Pong OST.
Oh,
I waifued
yeah.
that first.
That's true. I didn't get on that train until Koe no Katachi, a silent voice.
True.
Damn.
Yo, check it out.
Yo.
Yo, chica, what?
Yeah. So we can share though, but you can
Okay.
definitely check out the soundtrack. I think it's on Spotify, but it's definitely on YouTube at some point. So check
Gotcha.
out the soundtrack, and then you get the best of all worlds.
You get the best of both worlds.
Hannah Montana 2019 revival.
Let's go.
You ready?
Hannah Montana 2 when?
Unironically happening. Anyway, so I guess moving on, next on the list is Kemurikusa, which I think I'm the only one who finished.
Yeah, I only watched 4
Out of this-
episodes. I've been slacking on this one pretty hard. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, well, I think this was interesting, and I also kind of it kind of ended the way it started for me, where it is interesting, and I'm glad I watched it overall, but I also can't help but feel that I needed more from it. Like, it didn't necessarily cover everything in the end, but it did tell a pretty interesting story. It's once again, it's the guy who basically made Kemono Friends, so it's got that type of slow, mysterious world building. There's a pretty big twist towards the end, although I haven't seen Kemono Friends, but I assume the one that show is a lot bigger and more drastic. But it definitely does kind of recontextualize lots of things that happen, and kind of justifies some other things that I might have like it justifies some of the characters that I didn't really like early on, which is overall kind of maybe the biggest flaw of this show, is that the characters themselves just might not be that fun to watch. It's more like I'm just invested in it because it's like there's just a lot of interesting things with the way the world is and how it functions, and it's like I always want to see what's going to happen next, you know? And for the most part, I think it delivers on what it overall needed to, but it still has lots that it could explore. Yeah, so I thought it was pretty fun. Overall, I don't have much to say about it, TBH. But yeah, it was a good show. I'd give it a 7. I'd tell people to check it out.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that twist, because I don't know, I don't exactly have any major issues with the show except that the characters are a little bit boring. But yeah, pretty much everything I said on the last episode applies, is that I'm curious about the world. I'm probably going to finish it, and but yeah, I just don't have anything to say because I didn't really watch much of it past episode 3.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not like something that, you know, blows you away, but it was pretty good.
Okay.
Also, I think the funniest thing about the twist is that it actually, basically, but don't read into the lyrics of the OP too much. I'll just tell you that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess moving on from that is Endro. Fate, you watched Endro as well?
Yes, I watched Endro.
Did you finish it?
I did finish. Well, technically, Endro finished in the first, 10 minutes of episode 1?
Good point.
And the end roll credits played. And, it was really fun. It was a nice airing to be able to watch the first 10 minutes and be able to hit that completed on now. Get that extra check mark on your list. No, yeah, I finished it all the way through. What'd you think, Moss?
I also dropped this show.
Ooh.
After episode 4. The thing about this is that this is actually something that I've always been afraid of as I've watched more and more anime, because hearing a bunch of other reviewers and all, when they've seen hundreds of anime and a new show comes out and they say, oh, it's just like this older show and it's not as good. I've always hated that, and I've always looked down on that, and I'm thinking like, I'm never going to be that kind of guy. But then, as I've started to watch hundreds of anime, you just start to notice things.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately for Endro, this show just does some things that I have seen done in other shows. Like not even necessarily better or worse, but I've just seen before. I will say that the first 2 episodes of Endro were quite good. They did add lots of... they did do pretty unique things for the, I guess, quote, it's not really an isekai, but it's obviously playing with that sort of thing. The RPG anime.
Right.
Basically.
The JRPG anime, yeah.
Of course. So yeah, the first 2 episodes were pretty clever. And then episode 3, specifically, it wasn't bad. But the joke of the whole episode is that they get to go on quests, and the joke is essentially that they keep getting the same shitty baby quest that...
to find cats, yes.
Yeah, to find a cat, and that's it. The thing is, the thing is, it's not necessarily a bad joke, but I already knew that was just where they were going with it, that they were just going to keep getting the same basic quest, because last period literally did the same thing last year. So, I don't know. And then episode 4 was just not good. It was the beach episode. It was just really dumb. I don't even remember what specifically happened. I just didn't like it. And I just kind of thought, after episode 1, it just kind of went downhill from there, and it didn't seem to be getting any better. So I left, unfortunately.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it was like a great show.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even say it was like a particularly good show.
Ouch.
I mean, it was really interesting it felt like a Kirara Jump anime. Kirara being like a manga magazine that does things like Comic Girls,
Didn't they do
Yuri.
Did they do Eurocamp?
I
Triangle?
think they might. Yeah, I think they do. Basically, whenever you see an anime where like a bunch of girls like jump into the air with the sky in the background, that's literally called the Kirara Jump.
Can we make that like a genre? Can we make that a genre of shows along with the like Schrodinger's cat genre?
Oh, no, it's actually it's one of my favorite things. Hold on, I'll post it in the Discord. But yeah, it's so like K-On! Is the same way as well. Like
I'm
all
glad
these
there's a term for this. I didn't know about this, but I'm really glad this exists.
right, like you know what I'm talking about. Like the
Yeah.
the leap into the air, everyone's happy in the OP with the sky in the background.
Yeah, I feel this is like this is the epitome. This is like the equivalent of like shonen openings where you got like the characters running into the sky or something, or like when they reach out.
Or like it's raining and they like their hair's covering their eyes and they look
while they
sad.
cry. Yeah. I love this shit.
I love that Gakugarashi is on
Yeah,
this.
Yeah, same. Good job, Gakugarashi.
Gakugarashi is in Kirara, the magazine.
Shit.
Yeah, because it's a really sweet, wholesome slice of life anime.
Yeah, I love it. Season 2 win.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, we do need it. But anyway, back to Endro. Like, it had the same idea as like a Kirara show where it was just like cute girls doing cute things, and it's like it's not really trying to be particularly deep or particularly unique.
Yeah.
But like I had some laughs. The voice acting was fine. I really mostly watched it just because the animation style was really unique, because they went like full on storybook pastel kind of. And so that was really cool to see.
Mhm.
But also mostly I just finished it because I have a no drop rule. So
Oh dear.
Understandable.
yeah. But yeah, it's one of those shows where like, do you like cute girls doing cute things no matter what they're doing? Then yes, you should watch Endro. If that's not it for you always, then you really have no reason to keep watching. But yeah.
Alright. That's fair enough.
The ED was fun though, and it was sung by Inori Minase, who was like kind of killing it this season.
I legit forgot what the ED sounds like or is. I don't watch a whole lot of EDs anyway, though, because I just don't got time for that.
Are you ending your habit of watching endings?
I don't think there was ever a habit in the first place.
I do appreciate the pun, though. We got to give it.
I'll just say yes. All right.
Yes.
You win that.
Yes.
Thank you, Moss. Yeah, like looking on my Mal, it's got like a 5, 8, 5, 3, 6, 7, 8. So like, really, if you really like that kind of stuff, perfect for you. If not, it's not gonna be for you. The director, though, I haven't really heard of before, but she did a good job. Oh, she did some things with Gochi-usa, which would make sense. So, but
Nice.
yeah, nice.
Fantastic. All right, and next show is also yours as well. It's Prince of Smiles.
It's
Price of
Smile.
Smile.
Price of Smiles. Oh my God! No.
I literally
Yes.
Before we started recording, ladies and gentlemen, we made a joke about Prince of Smiles versus Price, and there we go. I just unironically did it.
You did. You had to do it to him.
When do we get to say it?
So, I started watching this show, and like I really like shows that like have interesting titles, and like titles really stick out to me. Like some of my favorite titles like come from the Haruhi series, like The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, the last episode series of season 1, which is called, or last episode chronologically is called Someday in the Rain. Like I really like shows like that. And so I was like, Price of Smiles. Like, because everyone talks about, like, oh, I need to protect that smile, or, like, I'm doing it for their smile. So it's like, I wonder what the price of smiles is. So I start watching this anime, and my God, there is there's no budget for this show.
But what was the price of this smile?
The price of the smile was apparently too damn high. Yeah, it was run from it, dread it, budget cuts still arrive. It was like, if you've seen Orange airing, you might remember how off-modeled those faces looked.
They didn't even have faces at some point.
Sometimes their faces were off their heads. It was actually really funny.
It was dank, yeah.
Yeah, that happened here multiple times from the beginning. And also, it kind of felt like they ran out of their animation budget like 10 minutes in, and then their plot budget 15 minutes in.
Jesus.
Perfectly balanced.
Not ready to protect any smiles, apparently.
It was actually a show that had like an idea. It's because the premise is that like it starts off and you think like, oh, it's just like a really sweet show about this princess and her childhood friend. Do you guys mind if I spoil the shit? Because
No.
it's terrible.
Nope.
I gave it a
Go for
2.
it.
I gave it 2 citruses out of 10.
No one's gonna watch this, dude.
Go crazy. No one did, and no one will.
No one will. Yeah, it's the princess, and like it's her like 12th birthday or whatever, and she has like a childhood friend who's like going off to like give aid to a neighboring country who's like on tough times. But spoiler alert, they're actually at war, and the princess doesn't know they're at war with each other, and the childhood friend is like a soldier, and they're like fighting each other in these giant mechas. And then, like, they have this big battle, and, like, the childhood friend, he looks like he's going to die, but he miraculously, like, saves the day right at the end. And then he's like, I gotta make sure I go back to the princess so I can tell her I love her. And then, like, it smash cuts, and then they're like, Princess, we have something to tell you. Your childhood friend died, like, the day after the battle, and just, like, a completely random thing. We actually don't know how he died, but he died. So yeah, and she's just like sobbing for the next 3 episodes for this guy we've known for an episode maybe. And then the whole time they're like, oh no, this war is a terrible thing. And then they go to the other side of the war, and you have like this girl who's like a really good soldier, but like she fakes a smile all the time. Cause she has
no.
feelings inside that she doesn't want revealed. And so like her grizzly old commander is like, when will we ever see a genuine smile out of you? And she's
I
like,
want to die.
Makes sense.
Did not protect my smile.
and then like they go into war, and it's like with the subtlety of like Thor's hammer in Avengers Infinity War, very subtly hits you over the head with the idea that war is bad for both sides. I don't know if you guys knew this, but when wars happen, both sides have people who die.
People die when they are in war.
Yeah. And like every episode would have someone die, or at least 2 people die. And there would always be like random side characters that like, you know how sometimes like anime will have a character randomly get like much more exposition, and then you're like, oh, that's a death flag, they're dying. That character would survive. Another random character would die, and then the next episode, the character that got a backstory would die like out of context immediately.
So they really like went all in on the whole like people die from random things, not what you'd expect.
Exactly. And
I was gonna say something that shot.
I knew exactly what you were gonna say because I was gonna say it too, but I don't want to spoil it. But you, me, and Fate are all on the same page with what we're thinking of.
Exactly.
Am I?
I think you know. I think you know. What have we been bitching about for like 2 months straight?
Yeah.
Like that.
Like that. Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so and then like the dumbest shit is like the soldier on the like other side, her mom is like a researcher on the other side, like the original side, and she's like she thought her like daughter disappeared or like died in like a terrorist attack, and at the very end the daughter like holds a gun to her face and she's like, oh, it's my daughter because you have a mole underneath your eye like I do. And the building collapses and the mom like pushes her out of the way, and the mom just looks at her daughter and she's like, I had to save you because, and dies. And the daughter's just like, why the fuck she saved me, and just runs off.
It sounds like a better show when you're describing this. Like, I know it's not going to be good, but this sounds really dank when you describe it like this.
I'm
Thank
going
you.
to post a picture in chat. This is going to be the background for this section. if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Oh god! This is what the guy on the right.
Oh my god!
This is
Wait.
one of the better drawn scenes.
Wait, I'm looking at the dude on the left though. Like, holy shit, that's like some Hunchback of Notre Dame shit.
Everyone
damn.
in this shot is so poorly drawn, and this is one of the better drawn shots of the show.
Oh my god! My
Oh,
god!
God, this show
well,
sounds like an
no
absolute
smiles
train
for
wreck.
me.
The price of smiles was too damn high. It's like, man,
Ain't got budget for this.
Kyoani like pieced out, Trigger pieced out of the season. They're like, you're gonna get like A1 Pictures and Cloverworks this season. You're not even gonna get fucking Shaft. You'll have like,
Well, we did get shafted from looking at this.
yeah, literally shanked. But yeah, that's the Price of Smiles. It's a lot more talking about Price of Smiles than I think Price of Smiles deserves. But I just wanted someone else to share in the pain that is Price
I'm not
of Smiles.
smiling. We're
What
not
if the
smiling.
Price of Smiles is the pain that I went through in watching
It's
it?
the friends we made along the way.
The
The
real
true smiles were the friends we made along the way.
Yes. The mechas did look cool, though. I will say that. The guy who directed it previously worked on Fafnir, so.
Oh, interesting.
But
Well,
yeah.
something that definitely deserves to be talked about a lot more is Bermuda Triangle.
Yes!
Colorful Pastrale. And let me tell you,
I'm hype.
I didn't watch this show. I only saw 3 episodes of it, and I haven't finished more of it because
I was
I've
waiting
been
for the
busy.
butt. It's just, no, I didn't watch it. Like, that's it. That's the end.
Because this show is... Am I allowed to say bad things about this since it's on HIDIVE?
Yes, as
Yeah.
It's really fucking boring. Why does this show exist? It's so funny that it exists. I'm still going to complete it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still in this for the long haul. I just haven't had time. Like, admittedly, there are just more interesting things to be watching, such as Shield Hero, you know, my favorite
paint
anime
drying.
of 2019. Shield Hero.
Wait,
I have so many things on my list, including paint drying.
Wait, Maz, what if you just watched Domekano instead of Bermuda?
Yeah, you could have watched Dome
no.
Kano.
But
And become
Domekano
cultured.
doesn't have a triangle in the title.
No,
So
It has a
there's
love
a
triangle.
panty thief. There's a panty thief, and the panties are in the shapes of triangles.
Oh my god.
And
There
there's
is
a love triangle.
triangle. What if Domekano was the real triangles were the loves Domekanos we made along the way? Wait, no. The real triangles were the sisters we made along the way.
Yes. Oh my god.
But anyway, yeah, I don't have anything to say about Bermuda Triangle other than that it's the best show of this season.
I feel
Because
like
it
we
has
all
triangle-
got baited hard.
Yeah.
Everyone got baited.
I mean-
I was baited that Maz finished it. People are going to be baited waiting to see you react to it.
Was
And you
anyone
were baited
really
into thinking
expecting
it would be
anything
good.
different, though?
No.
Wait, so does this mean how Shaw, master of 3x3s, how close were you to making a 3x3 of triangle anime?
Oh no.
I think we're up to 5, but I might be forgetting some.
So which
we might
so-
have more.
So we have Macross triangle.
Yep.
We have Eurocamp triangle. We have Bermuda triangle.
Do they have to have triangles in the name?
Yes,
Is
they
that
have
what
to
we're
have
going
triangle
by?
in the
They
name.
have Tachibanakan Triangle.
Yeah, Tachibanakan triangle.
Also, did you guys see the Eurocamp April
Oh,
I
the
did.
Sorayori,
Yeah.
Pretty
the
great.
April
So
Fool's
that
Day,
that
yeah.
that counts. Sora Camp Triangle.
Yes.
Oh,
The
wait,
literal
yeah,
best
okay.
anime of all time.
Sorayori
For
triangle.
those who don't know,
Or
there was a,
Yamamashita, further than the universe.
for those who don't know, there was
Yes.
an April
Oh my-
April Fool's joke where like there was an official like crossover for April Fools between Sorayori and Eurocamp, and it basically showed the Sorayori girls camping and the Eurocamp girls going to Antarctica.
Yeah, I love that.
I would
was really
pay
good.
good money for. Like that was.
I'd be down. I'd be down for an OVA of both of them, like in a crossover setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we actually have 5.
So
I
we
think we
have-
have 5.
So we have
We
5.
need to scour for
we
more
need
triangles.
4 more triangle anime.
Then we can summon Mega Triangle.
Mega triangle. Full triangle.
Yeah.
The
We need more triangle anime. So if anyone knows of any other triangle anime we can add to
Ultra
memes, please comment
Sierpinski
below.
Triangle anime episode when?
When we get enough. We gotta summon it.
We need like 9. We need at least for a 3x3.
you know what a Sierpinski
we need.
triangle
We don't
is?
make. See,
It's like a triangle.
we're gonna summon
It's a
it.
triangle made up
What?
of smaller triangles to create like a fractal. You know.
Oh
So
shit!
we need to make that out of triangle anime.
We're gonna that's gonna be we don't have summoning circles, we have summoning triangles.
Oh wait, we didn't even
Yeah.
bring up Bermuda Triangle, so that's
We
6.
did. No, we brought
Oh,
that up,
we
I
did.
think. Yeah.
Okay.
We included that.
I'm looking up on Mal. There's Triangle Blue, Tachibana-kan Triangle, Triangle Heart, Kindan no Moku Shiroku.
I love that
Crystal
the section has
Triangle.
literally just devolved into just talking about triangles.
We did know that was going to be the end game.
Fair.
Triangle end game. When?
We're in the
Yeah.
triangle now.
Does that mean, is that a good transition to the next triangle reference?
The show that actually had a triangle in its
Literally
Cementing
finale.
it as anime
Yes.
of the season.
Yes.
Yep. Best anime of all time. Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
Love is triangle.
Which, it's so interesting to me, because, like, I've always known it as Kaguya-sama wants to be confessed to,
Same.
but, like, they changed it to Love is War, and I don't dislike it, but it just makes me feel
feels
like
off.
it's
It
yeah,
kind
it
of
feels
makes sense
off.
because the original title is Kaguya-sama wants to be confessed to the genius's battle of love and minds. And something like that,
Yes.
which is just extremely
Yeah.
like it. I mean, it makes sense, but it's so cumbersome to say. So basically, they just narrowed it down to the essentials, which is love is war, because it's about love.
And
you
it kind
know.
of makes...
It does.
It does make sense because they both equally want to be
Yes.
confessed to, and it's not just Kaguya
Yeah.
who wants to
Yes.
be confessed to. So it is a bit clearer in the title.
All right, so has everyone on this fucking panel seen all of
Yes.
Kaguya?
Did we do it? We finally completed it.
Can't hear the fireworks.
Fireworks. Yes. I was so excited for that. I was so hyped to see that because oh yeah, Fate. I'll let you keep freaking out.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
No,
I want
just
to make
go.
I want to
Yeah,
make
just
a
keep
break.
God, when I was reading Kaguya Weekly and chapter, what was it, 45 dropped?
Yeah.
I went, everyone in the internet just went fucking ballistic. Like, President Shirogane underneath, like, when he does, like, the cool lines, like,
Yeah.
oh, the
I'll
game.
show them to you.
Oh, yeah. The game, of, like, guess what Kaguya is thinking? Like,
Yeah, this is easy mode.
This is so much easier than the other ones. I'm just...
Aw.
And then I love titles, but so like one of the things I really like is when like shows or like chapters or like manga have like titles that are lines.
The title drop.
Yeah, the title drop in the episode or like have
Yeah.
titles at the end. And
Yeah.
like Maoru Penguin Drum
Yeah.
did that really, really well. And then they did it here with so you read the first part, right? It's like I can't hear the fireworks part 1, and you're like, oh, like she can't hear the fireworks because she's not going, but then it all ties back together at the end because she can't hear the firework. Oh,
I should make a meme with
that was-
Drake, going yes and no about something. And
Yes.
the no would be I
love
can't hear the notes, and the yes would be I can't hear the triangle.
Yes.
Not the triangle, the fireworks.
Yes. That's
Still think about
perfect. Oh my
triangles.
god.
oh my god. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I love it so much. Yeah, I recently binged the manga, and when I got to this part, I always like enjoyed Kaguya, but this is the moment for me where it went from like, a really good series that I was enjoying to like a favorites tier. Like this is when it elevated itself and just hit those higher notes of being like serious but also heartwarming.
Right.
And that's when I think it separated itself, and they did such a great job with it. I was almost crying again when I saw this.
Yeah,
It's
like-
I
I
agree.
was-
The last
yeah.
episode was just masterful, and like
When you read that chapter, you're like, oh, this would be a perfect finale to a one-core show.
Yeah.
And they nailed it.
at
Yeah,
the beginning of the season.
Yeah, what were you saying, Nix?
Like in the last episode at the beginning of the season, I was saying like Dororo is pretty much my anime of the season, but like as good as that show has been, like it just can't compete, man. Like Kaguya is just too damn good. It like delivers everything just
I feel like-
flawlessly. I've been enjoying it so much, and I hope it gets a second season.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I really
'Cause
hope we get
it's-
another season for
Keeps
this.
up this, like, it keeps being really good. It's not like all of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
it becomes shit because, like, they hit, like, the big, like, plot thing.
The only reason, the only,
yeah.
the only
the
thing
big
I'm kind
moment.
of salty about is that there were no more like special dance EDs.
They kind of teased us with it with Hayasaka at the very
Yeah.
end. I was
Yeah.
really mad. I was like, you fuckers. Don't katana gatari me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was pretty cool. I think this is also just like such a cool. I think it's just such a cool series. Like, and it's so great that we got such a great adaptation for like a nice one core package. Because I feel like this is kind of like the rom-com show that everyone has kind of been waiting for. Literally speaking, because manga fans have been waiting for it for a while.
Yes, for years.
For literal years. But also just for people who, like, weren't aware, and they just kind of wanted, like, a rom-com to kind of be a bit different and enjoyable on multiple levels. I feel like we finally got it, and I feel like this is...
Kaguya has some of the, like, the most dedicated fans I've ever seen.
We waited 3 fucking years for a manga announcement. Well, for an anime announcement. We see things like Grand Blue get picked up, and like Grand Blue getting a really terrible adaptation scared me.
It really scared me too, yeah, because Grand Blue is a big series, so to see it get butchered so hard, like, I think people were really put on guard for like any big manga adaptation. They're like, nothing is safe.
When I saw Grand Blue and how terribly it did, I was just like, please don't butcher my Kaguya. Like, fine, take Grand Blue if you must, but... And like Takagi-san, also like the manga is great, but like the anime adaptation wasn't perfect. It wasn't like a great anime adaptation.
Yeah, like as much as
So
I
I was
like
just like-
Takagi-san, I can definitely see like the issues. Like I can understand when people say that it would have been better as a short form anime.
But so I was like so worried with Kaguya. Oh my gosh. I think but I think this was one of those manga adaptations into anime where honestly, as a source reader, I think I actually like the anime more.
They definitely elevated it a lot at
The
different
voice
times,
acting was fantastic. Fantastic.
Narrator.
The way they like the narrator in the that was a lot. He was so he was lying, she was lying thing with the test stuff. Like
I love that chapter, yeah.
the
When
chapter
they're talking about the exams, yeah.
the chapter I thought was better. I read the actual Japanese for the raws for that chapter, so I don't know if I think they might have translated more literally. But I just imagine like the JoJo narrator like that was a lie.
Yeah.
Like really serious thing. But Maz, we haven't heard much from the Chica enthusiast himself. What were you
I was waiting,
yeah.
saving Maz for the end.
Saving Private Maz.
Well, just saying, I do already have an 11-minute review on YouTube
Ooh, what?
about it.
Maz, where could we find this YouTube channel of yours?
It's youtube.com/giguck.
No, it's /C/Giguk.
Oh,
Come
shit.
on, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a video called A Flawless Comedy.
Yeah, and that's what like
'Cause it's
everybody
flawless.
who ever like saw him posting the video started to talk about, even though that's literally like not the point of the video. Like everybody got hung up on that one word in the title and gave him shit for calling something flawless.
I don't see a problem with calling it flawless, since most people find it to be pretty close to flawless, and I think it's gotten pretty universal acclaim, so I think for all the people freaking out over the word flawless, probably take a few steps back and breathe a bit, and recognize that a lot of people love Kaguya.
Well, anyone who doesn't think it's flawless can fuck off. They're wrong. This show is flawless. It's the best anime of all time.
You say that for... You said that for your camp... No, I mean for Sorayori earlier.
You said that for Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
Well, this show is even better than Bermuda Triangle, dude!
Yeah, I think you added it to your favorites. Is it now like your third
it's
favorite
third.
show?
It
is.
Hang on, I have to.
I just went
check
to
it
your
myself.
mouth.
I legitimately
I
forgot.
checked earlier.
Oh, it is third. Wow, yeah. How did I get there?
So that's good to see, though. I'm so
Anyway,
glad you... Yeah.
The thing about Kaguya-sama, it's the first pure comedy I've given a 10 out of 10. Because I've always felt like with these sorts of shows, there's always like something missing. It's always either there's like a story thing. Like for up until this point, Konosuba was my favorite pure comedy. And I've always felt like it, as great as it is, it's like season 2 really shows how it could actually really work as a true adventure. And I've always like wanted it to do more of that. It's like I just want more out of this show. Kaguya, on the other hand, there was not a single episode that I walked away from thinking, "Oh my god, that was the best thing ever." Even pretty much every skit was just utterly fantastic. I think all of the characters are amazing. I love Kaguya and Miyuki. Of course, Fujiwara is my girl. She's perfect. Actually, something interesting about Fujiwara in particular. The reason, I guess you could say the way I like her is actually very similar to Mayushi.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, because
I got a feeling.
because
Ooh.
they're both these sorts of unassuming characters. I mean, Mayushi is like, I wouldn't say Mayushi's stupid, but this show is pretty out the gate with Fujiwara just saying that this girl's a fucking idiot.
She's got an IQ of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more like 300 because what's so amazing about her is that she's able to do these things that like no one else can predict. Like they even just outright state later on in the show, like you can't predict
Fujiwara is
Like,
I
everyone's
like
theory.
breathing.
She's pure chaos.
Breathing is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, chaos theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so amazing about her is that, you know, these two characters have their own thing going on. And then she comes in and just flips it all upside down and just...
Yeah.
Like, when I realized that she was the best character of all time and that this show was the best show of all time was, specifically the word game in episode 4.
Yeah.
Where...
Oh, when she starts rapping.
Yeah, when she starts rapping, but of course she like does this like really emotional thing that baits Kaguya into losing, and then Shirogane just like analyzes the whole thing and like, oh, this game must really mean a lot to her, and so I should really, you know, take this seriously. So he's like, okay, Fujiwara, I'm gonna get serious now. Okay, you lose. What the fuck? That was the best scene of all time.
I just put Kaguya
Oh,
on my
man.
male favorites.
Yeah, yeah, like man, like all the characters are done so well. Like Kaguya,
Yeah.
of course. Like Hayasaka, like I love her. And then Fujiwara, like the ramen skit is so like the ramen skit is so, like cracks me up so much.
That's actually really nice to hear you say that because I've heard like every single source reader complain that they adapted that chapter as opposed to certain other chapters.
Yeah,
Well, they
like,
also kind of they brought it back though in the fireworks one. Like they brought back
That
the
is true.
the
Yeah.
ramen
The
thing.
full
So
great
like
ramen
it kind of makes
family.
sense.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
like the why I love that chapter especially is because when I went to Japan, I was at a ramen shop in somewhere in like Shinjuku, just like in the streets somewhere. I just found a ramen shop, and I was like, "Oh, this is good," and I wanted to add garlic to it, but I couldn't find it. And so I like asked someone over, I'm like, "Something like that," and then I just make the like crushing garlic gesture, and they like laugh, give me a big thumbs up in there, and they bring it over, and they're like, real ramen. And I was like, oh, this is true. This is actually
I love
legit.
garlic.
So yeah, you gotta add like freshly crushed garlic to your ramen, but only after you have initial couple of like I don't like bites out of it. Because so you could get like the way it was intended to be, and then you can add like extra seasoning and stuff. But yeah, like I love that. That's hilarious. And then the volleyball chapter was done so.
Oh, that was so
Oh,
great.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I think they have such a great cast. I don't know if this is a bit too bold to say to the people hating on Maz's title. I'd say that Chika is like probably as close as you can get to a perfect comedic character, and I think she like fully represents the great comedy aspects of this series.
Mhm.
And I think it's so great that you can have so many characters bringing so much to the table while being funny in their own ways.
Mhm.
Like, I think Kagi is still my favorite, but I love how they all work together so well.
Mhm.
And I think they've just done like such a really cool idea of like turning not necessarily misconceptions, but miscommunications into such a funny battle of the wits and just like, you know, they make it touching but funny. Like you'll know what it is. They just do such a great job with it.
Right. And
Yeah.
And like also like there aren't like it's a rom-com but or like com-rom, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
But like there's no love rival. There's no like
I love that too. Yeah.
yeah, so like you don't have like someone else like vying for Kaguya's attention or someone like who's also going to confess to Shirogane. Like it's just the two of them. Although you do have the girl who's constantly in the background.
Yeah, she's just stalking that other couple. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's cool how like a lot of the conflicts aren't derived from something that I'd consider frustrating, like another love rival or like a misconception that feels so out of the realm of possibility that it pisses me off.
Uh-huh.
Like all of the misconceptions and conflicts are derived from, you know, pretty normal scenarios. But and by normal, I mean like they feel too embarrassed, or like Fujiwara is up to some shit. Like, you know, it makes sense. So I think they do a great job balancing that.
The perfect example of that for me is the one where the guy comes in for love advice and asks, like, Shirogane is like, yo, like, I want to hold her hand. And Shirogane is like, yo, you gotta get a part-time job. You gotta get a boating license. You gotta find a way, like, it's gonna cost you this much. Yo, I got an opening in my place. And like, Fujiwara comes in, she's like, the love detective's on the scene. And
like,
she's like, what's the problem? He's like, I want to hold her hand. She's like,
just hold the hand.
Just
like,
hold her hand. You
like, just
idiot.
do it. Yeah.
That was such a great display of
We haven't
Shirogane's
talked
character
about-
as well.
Yeah.
I love him. I think Shirogane is the perfect example of how to do, like, a normal guy character who's not, like, a huge pussy. Because they always seem to think that, like, whenever they do the, like, relatable me IRL guys in anime, I feel like they try to make them as, like, wimpy and weak as possible for, like, self-insert purposes. But Shirogane is, like, a great example of, like, he's not really outgoing and brave all the time, but he has his moments, and he definitely has his own thing going for him. So he can feel like a normal dude, but still have aspects that make him stand out.
And
So I feel like
more so than Shirogane, though, I feel like Ishigami, our guy, is more me IRL character. But like,
that's true.
He's also hilarious. Like, him and Kaguya have such a great, like, I love how
he's scared of her.
Fujiwara and the president have a great like. I raised that boy myself.
I like I love that part where they're talking about like what to do over summer vacation, and Fujiwara is like, "You guys aren't going to go without me." When she's like on vacation herself. And our guy, it's just like, of course we will. You're not going to ask us to stay at home just because you're on vacation, right? That was like low-key one of my favorites, because that's like, such a common sense thing to say, and I love it.
She runs off crying, and like Shirogane and Kaguya are like,
you did good
job.
Son. Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, like Kaguya and Ishigami like have a great back and forth, like when they do the psychological test, and they're like, someone's behind you and taps on your shoulder, it's night, who do you think it is? When it's like implying that like whoever you call to mind is someone you love.
Yeah.
And he says Kaguya, but it's because he's terrified.
He's gonna kill me, no.
And they're just like, sorry, I'm gonna go home now, I think I have Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh man.
I think what's amazing about Kaguya is just the relationships, and especially the way they like just comment on things as, you know, it goes along. Like, there are lots of I think like some of the more subtle jokes of the anime are within just how characters react to each other. Like, there's one there was one thing I remember from Kaguya where she it was the scene where she's trying to text Miyuki about something, and she's like waiting for him to respond back, and she gets a text and she's like so excited, and then it's from Fujiwara, and then she just tosses her phone, just so bored.
I love that because there's so many times that this is like the most relatable thing I've seen in a while, where like Fujiwara is getting in the way of her plans with Shirogane, and she's just thinking like cattle, human scum. Like,
you're not even human.
And then she's like, "Hey, do you want to join us?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "Oh my god, my best friend Fujiwara, I love her." Like,
as much as I love Chika and she's my girl, I just kind of love the way everyone just like secretly like has those moments where they just really hate her. Like when when Shirogane is trying to get her to go on a trip, she's like, "Yeah, going on a trip would be good." It's like, "Yes, I knew you would agree. That's why I'm going on vacation to Hawaii." Fuck you!
I love it. It's so cool that you can just like, there's so much to appreciate with each character. Like, we can all have our favorites, but we can still look at the other characters and be like, "Nope, they're perfect
and they're
too."
like little like subtle things. Like, one of the like extremely subtle jokes that I noticed when watching Kaguya, I didn't even bring it up to anybody because it was just so like minor, but it still made me laugh quite a bit, was when they were talking about like club budgets, and Chika wanted to get Shirogane to raise the budget for him for her club, and she was like, I'm gonna give you this like juice or something, and then a little name tag popped up and said, "She's the daughter of a politician."
Oh yeah,
like, of course she would have bribery in her blood.
That's so perfect.
And I also love that one because at the end it's like Shirogane's victory because for a brief moment he felt like he had a hair.
I
I always
it.
love the result and just the way they
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, no, it's like, I like, Fujiwara's great in the background too. Like the one time she tries to whistle inconspicuously, but she can't whistle, so
Yeah,
she's
they
just
have-
like,
They do so much with that. That's like, those are the little details that I think puts it over the edge for me, where they have so much like, you have the main focus, but then you'll always have Fujiwara doing something in the background, and they don't need to call attention to it, but if you notice it, you're like, wait, that's hysterical.
and like, I think this relates to the fact that like Kakegurui was also airing this season. In Japan. It's not available for streaming here, unfortunately. But calling back to like season 1, where they would be like, oh, like, and it's like a common trope with card games, and like Naruto and the Chunin exams had it as well, where Fujiwara was like, oh, if you get caught cheating, it's like -5 points. And Shirogane immediately is like, wait. This doesn't make sense. Are you trying to cheat? And then like Fujiwara looks like really ashamed of herself, but he's like, why do you look ashamed when you're trying to cheat at this game? You brought this on yourself.
Yeah, like I really like
God,
this series because like what some people have mentioned before that is basically like what puts it above most other comedies for me is that like it has a certain like character to it. It's not like just the characters are just like vessels for like running jokes, but like it's got actual characters who are actual people and interact with each other in like meaningful ways. Like they're of course like extremely exaggerated and funny ways because of course it's a comedy, but still they feel like real characters with good like character building.
Yeah.
This is also the reason why I really liked Hinamatsuri last year, which I felt like did kind of the same thing in that it all of the characters in that felt like really like real, and I enjoyed them for that reason. And yeah, Kaguya is kind of on the same tier for me. It's really good.
For me, like what makes a comedy like go into that next tier is if it has heart as well. Like it's not just comedy. Like Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun also had that. Nichisho for sure had that at the very end. Like it really wrapped itself up well with like a very wholesome, character-driven, like uplifting story with its comedy at the end, which with Nano. And I really loved that. And like especially here, like not just the the fireworks thing. Like of course, like I can't hear the fireworks. Like that obviously is like the pinnacle. Like what a fucking 2-parter. Like that's but like it wouldn't work on its own unless we fully believed that they would do this for her.
Yeah.
Like if we hadn't already like seen it all together. And my favorite thing is these things don't happen in isolation. Like they don't have like these weird pranks and like these weird battles with like no consequences. Like Ishigami like stumbles upon like the tickets to a cafe once and like ruins Kaguya's plan, and Kaguya's like, yo, if you tell anyone, I will literally kill you. Or when he's like, yo, I think Kaguya's gonna kill me because every once in a while I see her like giving death glares. Sometimes I don't even think she thinks Fujiwara's human.
Yeah.
So like it's these things aren't happening in a vacuum, and like they play out well.
Mm-hmm.
And like they seem like genuine friends with each other. Like even in the last episode where they do the triangle formation, and Fujiwara's like, ah ha ha, 4 is a crowd, and like Ishigami goes home and it's like Ishigami was shut down, and Kaguya's like 3's also a crowd, and then Fujiwara has to go. She doesn't even know what the game is. She's like, I lost the game.
That was such a perfect display of like the kind of awkwardness that just kind of happens sometimes, like the way that they made the asterisk and the triangle when like Kaguya and Miyuki were obviously going for something completely different, but just the obliviousness.
Fujiwara's just having the time of her fucking
when
life.
Ishigami came in and did the triangle, I just absolutely lost it.
God, that was beautiful. Yeah, and then like the fact that like Shirogane is embarrassed by the fact that like he had those chuny lines. Like the really cool lines.
That we all think are cool too, but then he's so self-conscious about it.
Right.
So it makes sense.
I love how they showed the shot of him in his home, like just screaming into a pillow while his sister's like blogging her ears. God. Yeah, they all like the sister also was well developed for like the little screen time she had.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like dove into also like Shirogane. They did a good job of like balancing Shirogane's lifestyle and like the fact that, you know, he comes from a very poor family, and also like the struggles that Kaguya has dealing with a very rich, financially, you know, crazily wealthy family. So like it showed that like some of these problems go beyond just like financial, socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
So we're getting probably too deep for Kaguya though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you like the show, definitely read the manga because, like,
We don't know if it'll get a season 2.
Hopefully it gets season 2, but, like, a lot of these characters get even more development. It's really good. The art is really great.
Yeah. I don't think it's like a downgrade going from this to the manga. I think you'll find that a lot of the enjoyment can be carried over across mediums.
Yeah. And it's like, man, it was just so much fun. Like, this anime was so much fun to watch every week. And then we had the Chica dance, and then we had like people watching the 10. One of the streamers for Overwatch, he watched literally all 10 hours of the Chica dance on YouTube, and streamed it, and it got like 150,000 viewers.
Amazing.
That's dank.
Yeah, like the Chica dance is eternal.
He
Like,
must be the most powerful human being in the world now.
Chica, yeah.
No, the person who watched 10 hours of
Chica also. You know what it is? Chica does 101 push-ups every day, 101 sit-ups every day, and runs 11 kilometers
so she can
every
beat
day.
Saitama.
And does not turn. She is basically one punch Chica.
Yeah.
Oh
This
man,
anime is just her at 1% power.
Chica Psycho 100.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah.
no, just
Kaguya-
a fun anime.
Yep. 10 out of 10.
The Chica
Masterpiece.
dance itself is a 10 out of 10.
Definitely.
Like, to bring it full circle, Shaw, you brought it up on the Impressions episode.
I did.
You were
I
like,
did.
oh, the ED, did you guys see the ED? We hadn't. And you're like, oh, like, Chica dances, and I think it's in ones, but it looks quite cool. And, like, I kind of dismissed it. I was like, yeah, whatever, it's a dance ED. Those happen all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's legitimately so incredible to see. Like, it's all in ones. Like, some of the most fluid animation I've seen in a long time.
I think we can't underestimate the impact that the dancing ED had, because I think people were on board with Kaguya, but that really signified the explosion of popularity that happened, because so many people watched it because of that ED and grew to love it. But like before it, some people were like, "Oh, I thought the like concept was kind of dumb," and then I saw the ending, and then I checked out the show and loved it.
Right.
So I think that's like a master class of marketing, because they knew
really
that would
is.
go viral. And they just released that, and now the show got even more popular. So
It's one of
kudos
those,
to that.
It's one of those things too where I can't imagine what that discussion was like. Maybe it was easier, right? Because this was done by Cloverworks.
No, A1 Pictures.
No.
A1 Pictures.
It's A1.
A1 Pictures. A1 Pictures. I mean, it's the same thing essentially, but like, so like for other studios, it might have been tougher. But like with Sony, right? All of a sudden, Sony sees like big money where like you invest a shit ton into this. And you sell singles, you're able to sell Blu-rays, because like Sony backs A1 Pictures, which is why Sword Art Online has so many of their EDs and OPs like immediately available on Spotify and other streaming sources. Gasp. But yeah, like
I want to say there was
A1
an
Pictures
actual
did a really
Sony
fucking
product
good job.
placement in SAO Alternative Gun Gale Online, but then I realized that wasn't even done.
with the Sony headphones.
Yeah, but that wasn't
Yeah.
even done by
In-game.
A1 Pictures. It was done by, I think, Studio 3 Hertz. So I don't know how much that
Yes.
has to do with anything.
Because Aniplex, I believe, so Kadokawa and Aniplex, I believe, share the
okay.
rights to Sword Art Online, and then lease those rights to a different studio. But we're probably like, hey, if you want to do that, you also have to do this, because in that show, Gun Gale Online, Elsa Kanzaki is actually voiced by Rayona, who is under the Sakura music label of under the Sakura music label, which is like the anime music label under Sony.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And that was like her
Makes
debut
sense.
thing. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
if you ever watch a show and you're like, wow, like I don't know where this musician or like singer or like band came from.
Yeah,
It's
like the
probably
other day,
Sony
I was
just like
on
trying to
Spotify just looking up stuff.
All right. Shut up.
We gotta move on.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
That's true.
This is
But
getting
anyway,
so off topic.
Anyway, speaking of
Yeah.
Rayona, she also did the ED for Kaguya-sama, and I really like the ED, the non-Chika ED too.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are good, actually. I did
Yeah.
like them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kaguya-sama, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
potentially 10 out of 10? The Promised Neverland.
Ooh, wish I talked about this at some point.
Gosh,
Aha.
wait, Shaw, like I would have really enjoyed hearing your thoughts weekly about the show as it
Would you?
aired. Maybe on like
Would you?
Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, on a series called The Promised Never Weekly, hosted on the R Anime podcast channel that you can find at youtube.com/c/the R Anime podcast. No other slashes in the middle there.
Yeah, if only we did that.
If
Oh, wait, we
only
did. Wait, we did. Yeah,
did.
so I guess, well, we haven't heard about from Nyx and Moz in a bit, but yeah, we've talked about The Promised Neverland ad nausea, at least I have, so if you want to find out more about what you guys, if you want to hear more in like explicit detail episode to episode, we have the live streams we did on our channel under a playlist called The Promised Never Weekly, but I guess to go over, like, what did you guys think? 'Cause we know how I think, and look at my
Do we?
avatar, we know how I think.
Do we know how you think?
I think we know. I think you can see from my avatar the
I think
implications.
she may
of what I
Because
think.
of the
like it.
implication.
Yeah.
Might like it. It is my
It's
anime
no
of the
Shaman
season.
King.
It's no Shaman King because I actually watched this one.
Hey!
Yeah,
Or did
but it
you?
was my
What if-
anime of the season. I'm
what if-
excited for season 2.
What if you lied that you saw it and you didn't actually see it?
Well, we're not in April anymore, so it will just be my lie in March. But that's not as catchy.
Oh wait,
so.
but that's March would come in like a lie and Shaw.
I left for to like 10 seconds. What the fuck is going on?
The puns got out of control. Anyway, what'd you guys think of The Promised Neverland?
It was
All right, I
it
guess
was
I'll
good.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, good talk.
Excellent.
Good talk, guys.
It was
Nice job.
It was better
It
than
was
average.
definitely better than average.
Possibly even a lot better than average.
It was
I think.
yeah, so okay.
Oh
So
yeah, go ahead next.
it had a few of those classic like that's bullshit, but I believe it moments, like with
The JoJo's method of the JoJo's style
yeah, exactly
of thinking.
with like Ray's fetus memory or like
I love the fetus memory stand.
fetus
That's so
memory.
dank. I love it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but I love it. Like it's close enough for me to believe it.
yeah, so that or like Norman scaling the wall like fucking Superman.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird how it's really weird how they did that, but that's like okay, it's like okay, whatever. I'll like, try to accept that even though that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
but
but
moving
other
on.
than that, the show was really enjoyable. Like its character dynamics, well, not even like dynamics, but just the character writing, like in general, was really solid, and like I enjoyed pretty much all of the characters. Like they all had something to offer, and like Mama especially. Like I liked how she wasn't just like she's the villain and she's just the evil overseer of this orphanage, because she does actually have some depth to her, which I mean was especially explored in the last episode, but I think it was pretty apparent even before that in how she truly cares about the children, and she's not evil. She's just kind of resigned to the fact that they are pretty much an inferior species in this world, and they have to basically just live with that and make the most out of the life that they have. So, which is really tragic in a way, and it's really beautiful. And
I called that, by the way.
I mean, it's in hindsight, it's something that's pretty like it makes sense. And Krone was a similar kind of character in that she basically just wanted to take care of, the children from when she was a little orphan in her little Gracefield house as well. And even though she with the doll was creepy as hell. But like the only thing that I'm salty about in Neverland's adaptation and how it ended. I mean, I say adaptation. I haven't actually read the manga at all, so I don't know how this was handled there. But something that I was salty about in the anime was that when Norman was taken to the gate, he was like taken like beyond some door, and he had a shocked face. And after that, we never saw him again, and we never learned what was behind that door. And I need to know what was behind that door.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it was
Mm.
adapted as well. That's supposed to
but
happen.
it's just annoying that I was left on that cliffhanger not knowing what happened to Norman, because, I mean, it's very possible that he did actually die, which, I mean, would be unfortunate, but, you know, I respect an anime that doesn't pull its punches, but, like, at the same time, there has to have been a reason for why she took him into that room, and why we were shown it in such, like, a dramatic manner. And then we just never got anything out of it, and that's just annoying to me. But I'm sure that will get addressed in the second season, which I'm very glad has been confirmed. So at least I can rest
To
easy.
be honest, a sort of weakness of this being shown in Jump is that I knew 1000% he was not going to die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, deep down I probably know that as well, which is the main reason why I also want to know, like, what is going to happen to him. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait for that.
Yeah. I do like Neverland a lot, specifically because I didn't really get to talk about this too much, but what was so great about it as a whole, this really, I kind of would compare the appeal of this to Attack on Titan, where it's basically about these characters who are up against this threat that's so much more powerful than them, and it's just like, geez, how the hell are they going to get beyond that? And as the series goes on, they just keep, like, even as the characters keep finding solutions, the conflict just keeps getting more and more intense. They just keep adding new obstacles to it, and the stakes keep getting higher and higher. And what I love about that is that it always felt believable to me. I mean, you're right that, Nix, that there were some things like not Norman, Ray and his weird memory thing was like, that was a bit of a stretch. But specifically when they got up the wall and then Norman came back and said there's a cliff, I'm just like, yeah, of course there would be a cliff. Like, that just makes sense. Like, everything was kept pretty logical. I will say, though, that my biggest complaint with this series is that, particularly in the midsection, it felt like there was a bit of meandering. Like, it was progressing a little too slowly. Specifically, I don't understand the point of Krone overall. Like,
well, I'm not sure if you were asking for the point or if you want to keep going. Sorry.
Well, when she was introduced, I even said, like, oh, she's a physical character, like a physical obstacle. I thought that was really cool. Then when she, wanted to side with Emma, I thought that was really strange, and I was really nervous because I'm like, well, I don't want this conflict to be easier for the characters. This is basically a power boost here. And then she tells them some things about the world, and then she just dies. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, what exactly was the point of that at the end of the day?
Well, she also gave them a pen that she found from the place she was at, and she gave that to Norman and them. And while we haven't really seen it, it's implied that the pen that she gave them will be really important and help them escape. Like, her notes to them and that pen were crucial for them being able to escape.
Well, then let me ask you this. But then what was the point of Mama bringing her in?
Well, she wanted to bring them in to keep watch on everyone.
Well, right, but, like, the fact that she didn't really watch them that long, and then she just dies in the end, I don't know, it just seems really redundant.
Yeah, I think she was there for security purposes because Mama wanted help, like, holding down the fort while trying to deal with the fact that, like, some of the kids knew. But I think it is just, I don't know. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense, but I think in the end, her efforts were able to help the kids escape. That's how I view it. Right,
but I don't know. I'm not... As a thing for, to add to the conflict, I don't know. I just thought it would... To me, it kind of felt like Rian Johnson would have written that thing in, like, The Last Jedi, where it's like, oh, we added this plot element. We didn't go anywhere with it. We just wanted we wanted you to think we were going this direction with this, but no, we were going the other way. That's surprising.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, I feel ya. I think my point of reference is a bit different because I remember her showing up as, like, when she showed up in the manga, it was definitely like she was there for longer, so she kind of felt like more of a factor in this story. But since they had to condense so much, I can definitely see not thinking her as, like, that much of an important factor. But I also kind of, like, I mean, I know what happens next, so like I have a different frame of reference. But I definitely can see that since she was in a couple episodes and she didn't necessarily do anything. So I kind of see what you mean.
Yeah. But the other thing I do really like about this is that as a mystery anime, I think it's really strong because it's constantly giving you new questions to ask while also answering older questions. And I don't think there was anything in particular that lingered on longer than it needed to. Like there's nothing that's necessarily like it doesn't dangle something in front of you, like Attack on Titan again with the fucking basement. It's like, yeah. You know, it's like, oh, we're gonna get to the basement next season. Great. It only took 6 years. I don't even care anymore. You know,
I think we got to the basement. We got to the basement in a few episodes here. Mama's basement.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they yeah, I always like that. I hate it when they dangle things in front of you like that. So yeah, the information they conveyed was given to us at a pretty decent clip. Yeah, it worked really well. It's tightly written, basically.
I don't want to sound like I have too many issues with Neverland, because I did really enjoy it, and it's one of my favorite anime this season. But one more thing, like, I want to mention that I have a gripe with was that, like, the kids are like way too like 300 IQ. Even like the little kids, like at the end when it was revealed that like Emma and Ray had, well, not Ray, but Emma had, I don't remember exactly who it was, but basically, Emma basically told like all of the kids over the age of 4 or 5 about like the truth, you know, about the house and the escape plan. Like, I thought that was a bit sus, because from an array of like 30, you know, like little kids, I didn't exactly find it too believable. Like not one of them had like, you know, started behaving differently, or like, you know, that Mama would just like have no suspicions whatsoever. So yeah. I don't know, like, in this way it feels like the kids didn't really act like kids, because kids would normally be scared, and maybe like some of them would go to Mawa for help and just basically ruin the entire plan or something. And I mean, I can accept it. It's just that it's another thing that feels kind of, I don't know, it feels a bit, I don't know, not entirely believable, but okay, I'll take it.
Idealized.
Yeah, I think they're like realistically speaking, no kid would act like this. But that also kind of applies to most anime manga that follow kids, true. You know, unless we're talking about like the Babysitter Show where they're like crying like and shitting all the time, you know. Most kids actually suck, you know.
Yeah.
So I agree I definitely see what you mean. I definitely agree, but I think it's also like the what is it called? Where you're suspending disbelief definitely happens.
Yeah, I mean, I had to suspend my disbelief a lot for this show, and the only real gripes I have with it are like some of the places where that suspension of disbelief was stretched a bit too far. But yeah, on the whole, I definitely still really enjoy it for reasons that everybody has already said.
Nice.
Yeah.
Faith, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I guess just like I mean, I've said a lot of things on the Never Weekly podcast, so definitely
you did. Yes, you did.
So many memes. But I think actually, now that I've had a couple of days to digest it, oh my god! I
even when you're not trying,
I didn't even mean
it was a Freudian slip.
That took me a minute.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, a little bit. Slip of the tongue. Yeah. So like now that I've had some time to stomach the ending, just trying to, like, I don't know. It just feels really weird for me because I feel like I never really loved it. And it's just one of those shows where it feels like I should like this more than I do. But like, because I really appreciated it and I had a lot of fun watching it, but it's like, looking back now, it's like, would I rewatch this show? And I think for me, it's a hard no. Like, obviously, I'm going to be excited for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the finale was done well as well. But echoing some of the earlier comments, like, just like, I found myself suspending my belief a lot and just like giving it a lot more leeway than I normally would. And then it also felt like Ma said, like, you know, they weren't going to kill them because this is Shonen Jump, and it's not always true. Like, Shonen Jump has killed off important people early on in anime and manga before, but like, you know, Norman, we don't see his death on screen. Like, really, only 2 people die for sure. That's Connie and that's Sister Krone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, to me, it felt like a lot of the weight of it was lost. I did like how they handled... Sorry, I do like how they handled Mama's backstory.
Oh, yeah.
And how they humanized her at the end. And I did mention this on a Never Weekly episode, I think, that I wanted her to, like, wish them well on their journey at the end.
Yeah.
So, I did feel good about that. But, like, Phil also wasn't actually an overlord.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know.
The film must be.
There was actually
film
a
must
great
be.
like screenshot that could be taken out of context really well. That at some point they said only Phil knows the truth, which was in reference to like the escape plan and all of that stuff. But like taken out of context, it fits really well into our Phil is the Overlord narrative.
He's the Giga Chad overlord.
That is true.
Yeah.
Fate,
But
I
yeah.
think I actually did you have more to add?
Oh no! So it's just like I think I said Shaw immediately afterwards that I gave it an 8, but it was because I wasn't sure if I wanted to give it a 7 or if I wanted to give it a 9.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
feel that.
I think I'm leaning more like I really did like the music. The music also again, done by Koshune or whatever.
I'm not
who's-
sure who it is.
Oh,
Also-
Koshonie.
Yeah.
They did the
Al-
EDs.
Yes. Also under Sony's label. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the EDs were good. It was just, yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, I don't really feel too motivated to read the manga or like keep going. I am really happy that it is getting a second season though, which like if you only look at the Blu-ray sales is surprising because I think Volume 1 didn't the Blu-rays itself only sold 700,
Yeah. It's insane.
which is like ridiculously low. Because even like
Yeah.
like Shonen Jump properties, like Naruto, Bleach, yeah, they didn't sell many Blu-rays, but like Haikyuu sold a shit ton of Blu-rays.
I think it's a bit different with Haikyuu though, because I think it's aired at a different time, and like I know Haikyuu is aired at a different time than like My Hero Academia or Black Clover. You know,
What so was Promised Neverland not in the Noitamina?
it is in the Noitamida.
Right. So that wouldn't that's like the marquee lineup really for usually anime, but like I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those anime where I find myself like kind of at a loss for words now. Like after it's ended, it's just like it did what it did, and I don't really know how much more I can get into it, or like
Yeah,
sorry,
I think that's fair.
get into like diving into it. It's not like a show like just because we mentioned it earlier, Penguin Drum, where you can like rewatch it again and again and like dive into it and like read essays on it and like do talks on it and like just really dig your teeth into it. But this one, it's not like a 7-course meal. It's like, you know, it's like a good appetizer. It's a good like dinner entree kind of thing.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think actually it's funny you say that because the thing that brings us over the edge to me above like Kaguya-sama is I've actually ended up rewatching most of the series at least 2 or 3 times due to watching it with other people or watching it like for the Never Weekly series.
Mhm.
So it does actually hold up on rewatch to me really well. And I've seen like the first episode like 6 times by now. So I've had to like rewatch it just based on who I've been watching it with. And there's a lot of things that I notice more and more each time I've rewatched it. So I definitely understand what you mean though, because it's like, it's kind of one of those things where like you watch it and then you're like, that was fun, but it doesn't stick in your mind as much. But I guess it has for me just because I'm obviously super invested in it and I'm super invested in the manga. But I definitely like know what you mean, and I think that's like pretty understandable.
It's actually, to tie it to what Ma said about Attack on Titan, with Shinkeki no Kyojin, like the fact that they withheld what happened in the basement for so long in the manga actually kept me invested in it, because I was like, shit, like I really want to know what happens next. Like no matter what happens in this arc, we still don't know what's in the basement. And like that's still the goal. For here, like the goal is for them to like leave the compound, the plantation, and then start a new life outside. And it's like, because that is such a vague goal, to me, I'm like perfectly content to wait until it happens.
Yeah.
Regarding what you said, Fate, about like appreciating the series but maybe not wanting to come back to it, I think I actually feel the same way, because it's like it's just an interesting show, but I'm also not necessarily emotionally invested in it. It's more of just like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a logical interest in it because of the nature of the conflict and all, and it's really presented quite well. Even though like I'm not necessarily rooting for any character, it's just a really, like, honestly, this is actually probably the most intense I've felt while watching an anime since Made in Abyss. But at the same time, it is kind of like a one and done sort of thing. I do really want to see the second season.
Right. Like,
but,
I would definitely watch that weekly and like be really invested into it. But it's just,
I think 17 put it perfectly in our last episode of Promised Never Weekly, where he said that the first core just kind of stands on its own as like a good like one-off series that you could just watch, and if you're not interested in watching what happens next, you could just kind of like bookmark it and have a fulfilling experience. But then if you are interested, you can like keep watching the rest and still enjoy it, So it's kind of cool that we just have this nice one core series that you could show to probably a lot of different people and say like, hey, this is like a really intense anime. You might have some fun with it. And you don't have to worry about the next season, even though it's cool that they're making another one.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It felt like also with the ending that they didn't know they were going to get a second season, because not knowing the manga or the source material well up to this point, just like I feel it's like a lot of other anime, they like really leave those loose ends prominent to try and draw you into like either continue readership in the manga stuff or like to promote like interest in a second season. But here it just like kind of ended. There wasn't like a foreboding foreshadowing of like the big bad.
That is how the chapter ended, so it was pretty... Yeah, so that's exactly how it ended, which I'm glad with.
But the anime... Sorry, you mean the anime and the manga had the same kind of ending?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. Right. So it didn't feel like the anime went out of its way to try and do a...
read the source material ending.
Or read the source material ending, like some other shows have done.
And I respect that. I'm glad they made it concise and like, here it is. Continue if you want or don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I spaced out. But next show we have is this continued from last season. And I've heard really good things about it, but it's Run with the Wind.
Gonna go run with it.
Yeah, Nix, this is your show.
This is my show, and it's also Shah's show now. She's
I caught up to this. I am. Yeah, I binged this in a couple days, and it was 110% worth it. Did you want to go first, Nix? You probably feel this is your baby. Go for
it. Well then, I didn't really have much of an opportunity to talk about this show on the last episode because I was a little bit short on time, but first off, I wanted to correct something just very quickly because in the last episode I said it was written by a guy, but it's not. It's Miura Shion, the person who, it's a woman. So yeah, basically, so she wrote the Great Passage. But yeah, basically, it's this is something that Shah and I have a bit of a disagreement on because I feel it's not really so much of like a sports show, but like more of a character-driven drama, just like based around the sport in a similar way to like Ping Pong the animation, for example. And Shah feels definitely like it's...
I definitely 110% disagree with that. But it's not... But I also want to clarify that I don't disagree with that in the sense that I think it's worse quality because I disagree. Like, I'm not saying that because I think it's bad or I think it's not as good. I just don't think the format and the way drama is portrayed and carried out is similar to something like a Ping Pong the animation or Chihaya Furu, and I think it's more in line with the series like Haikyuu.
More like the sport shonen, I guess. Like, for what it's worth, this is an adaptation of a novel,
Yeah.
so like an actual real book, not like a light novel. But that has had a manga adaptation, and that was serialized in a seinen magazine. So make of that what you will. But anyway, this series is great. Basically, I really like it for its characters and for its drama. Because I'm a sucker for good drama. I like drama when it's done well, of course. And this had it in spades, I would say. It's focused on a group of 10 college students who live together in a dorm, and they are eventually coerced by one of them to create a track and field team, basically. And their goal is the Hakone Ekiden, which is like the premier college marathon of Japan. And basically this is about all of their different personalities, clashing and, creating, and about the lead up to them getting into the Hakone Ekiden, because, like, it's not surprising or anything. Like,
There are very predictable
like, from the outset of the show,
checkpoints.
you know that they are going to get into the Hakone Ekiden. Like, as soon as the guy starts saying, we are going to make it into the Hakone Ekiden, you know that this is how the show has to conclude. Like, they're obviously going to run it.
Yeah.
So it's not about, like, will they get to the Ekiden or not? Because it's already kind of been decided if you're at all genre savvy. I can't speak. But yeah, if you're at all genre savvy, you know that this is what's going to happen. So now the series is about their journey towards getting there, like, getting their times, and like how all of their different personalities, interact with each other, and how what all of their kind of how all of them feel about the sport of running in general, and the kind of teamwork. Well, not necessarily teamwork, but like the kind of still there has to be a sort of team, camaraderie. Team spirit, team atmosphere. So that was without a doubt the highlight of the show for me. And the highlight of the show, in particular for me, was the character of Akane Kashiwazaki, or Prince, who was...
Prince, the young legend. Holy shit. I haven't laughed that hard in a while seeing Prince try to run. Like, his parts of, like, him trying to run and looking like he's straight dying, or doing some, like... He looked like a fucking zombie from Thriller when he was running. And it was the funniest shit I had seen. Oh my god. Prince, a young god.
Yeah, so basically the point of Prince is that he's a massive manga nerd, and he was basically roped into this just because they needed some people, and he can't run for shit. Like, he's all... Yeah, like, he's all
so bad.
noodle-armed, and, like, he's out of breath after, like, 10 meters, and...
He literally looks like a zombie. Like, he's walking forward like a zombie. Like, he's not even running like a zombie. Like, he's, like, walking and, like, stumbling.
But
it's
his
so
attitude
funny.
towards it felt so, like, genuine. Like, perhaps the most genuine out of them all to me. Like...
Oh, yeah, because I hate running. So I'm like,
but not
this
even
is me.
just like a me IRL character, like a relatable character, but like he had some genuinely great moments, like when they went running and they bumped into the other team that Kakaru had a past with, and that one red-haired Shinji guy, basically,
he sucks.
started calling them a bunch of chumps, and Prince was there, just completely out of breath. He could barely live. But he gave him this, like, awesome speech, like, okay, so, like...
Literal power of friendship,
like,
speech.
I may be shit, but, like, if I want to run, like, why are you, like, making fun of me if I'm partaking in this, And then, when he later had that moment with Kakaru said, basically, you're shit, you shouldn't be running with us. Because he was such a, stickler and a kind of elitist, and... Yeah, and all of these moments, and then when he was about to run the Hakone Ekiden, when he had the speech about all the sports manga protagonists.
Yeah, it was great. I think what for me, like, really sets this apart from other sports series I've seen is they have done a really great job at focusing on characters who are explicitly not talented at running. Like, I think Kakaru and Haiji are the only two who are really talented at running. Everyone else are amateurs, so it's really about them discovering the sport and trying to be as best as they can. Like, really them trying their hardest. But then another aspect is something that happens in most shows, but sometimes to this degree or not, is they've done a great job of fleshing out every single of the main characters on the team.
Even
everyone gets their moment to shine. Everyone gets
felt like for most of the show would just kind of filler,
even the twins.
You know, even they
were just
their character establishing moments. Even though they're still pretty much one character for the most part, it was still pretty enjoyable to see. Like every one of the characters had something, and it was done with care, and just I really liked the way that the characters were fleshed out.
Yeah, so they've done a really solid job with that, and it looks pretty good too. A lot of it, they had some cool imagery that Production IG has shown in Haikyuu and Ballroom. They have some
the same production team as Haikyuu, pretty much. They even got the same. It's not the same director, I don't think, but it's they even got Yuki Hayashi on the score, and it sounds exactly like Haikyuu at points.
Yeah. So they've done a really great job with it. I really enjoyed it. I don't think personally for me it reached the same tier as something like Ping Pong the Animation or Haikyuu, but I think it's definitely one of the best sports anime I've seen, and definitely a really enjoyable one that's worth checking out. And something I would give it something it has above Haikyuu is that the entire story is start to finish is wrapped up in 2 cours. You know, it's not a long running continual serialization. So if you really want that fulfilling experience in just 2 cours, you can watch this and feel like you've gotten a really good series in a shorter amount of time.
I really enjoyed it. It apparently it also has a live action movie, which came out.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Which came out a few years ago, which is interesting. I may give that a watch one day. Probably won't, but just putting that out there if anybody is interested. Yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about it except that I wanted to mention the JoJo reference that Prince made.
That's dank. Yeah, that's really dank.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah. Thank you, Prince. And thank you, Yuki. He's really hot, and he is my best guy. He's a good character, but he's also hot. That's it.
I love them all.
What more do you need?
Okay, well, I think we're done with this one. What's next on the list?
Awesome. All right, next up is the first half, I suppose, of Sword Art Online, Alicization.
Yes.
Fate, I'm just going to let you have this one because I have basically nothing to say about this.
I didn't catch up.
I think that I'm also not caught up, but I don't know. I think that this is basically the most okay show of all time.
Ooh, that hurts.
Could be worse.
I think I am the Sword Art Online show of the podcast. Although I would, yeah. Sha, you said that with such disdain.
No, I was distracted by my indifference.
Oh, oof. No, but I love Sword Art Online Progressive more, but the original series, it has a soft spot in my heart just because I read the light novels for so long, and then it was the first light novel series I was ever really reading. And then with Alicization especially, going through it was really interesting seeing a lot of it adapted on screen. I feel like they adapted it better. So I still think the best adaptation they've done is with Mother's Rosario in season 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Not just in the story content, but how they adapted it.
Yeah.
But also I think it's the best one so far out all that I read. But it was also Alicization is fine, but there's a lot that it misses out on in the text, because in the text it continually, this isn't really a spoiler, but in the text it continually talks about how Kirito is trying to, even though he's in another situation where if he dies in the game, he dies for real kind of situation. And when other people die in the game, they die for real as well. He doesn't want to revert back to his Kirito, the Black Swordsman in Aincrad mentality. Because there's just a lot of guilt that he harbors over that time period, and the fact that he did kill some people in that game, including people of the gang that eventually all tried to kill him and sent him into this the world of Alicization. But generally speaking, I felt the pacing was meh. The animation was really good though. The fight scenes did look really good. The music
I mean, it's like typical Yuki Kaijura stuff. If you've heard one track, you've heard them all.
But it still works out, you know?
It still works out. And like, obviously, like, I really love some of her tracks. Like Kara no Kyokai and Fate Zero are some of my favorite anime for the OSTs. Madoka as well. Sword Art Online, you know, it's fine. It's like if you had me rank the Sword Art Online arcs, like this would be behind Mother's Rosario and Aincrad, but above Gun-Gale or Phantom Bullet and
so literally mid.
and yeah, like literally mid. And this is really interesting enough, right where I stopped reading the light novels around 2016. So it was actually really interesting because the last 2 episodes were the first time I was watching Sword Art Online without any knowledge of what comes next.
Interesting. So do you think it did a decent job and you're excited for more, or you're just like, about it?
Well, no, like the very end of it was like absolutely so bad.
Oh, oof.
Like they did some really dumb plot stuff. Like to me, I was like really excited because like where I ended, like it ended at like a really emotional moment and like some really cool things were happening, and then it like kind of just like shat all over it.
Okay, I was kind of confused about this because I'm not watching SAO, but some of my friends who are kind of told me that the very last episode, or like kind of the very end of this series, was just really, really bad. And then I went on Twitter and I saw you saying how the SAO finale completely slayed you emotionally. I was like,
Well, it was more the Kaguya finale put me in like an emotionally compromised state. And like I was wrecked by SAO, mostly because it was so hilarious how poorly they were handling what was supposed to be a really poignant and sad moment. Without spoiling it, one character has been cut in half and begins to bleed out 3 separate times. Like the the puddle of blood like seeps out from their body. They cut away from them. They come back and like once again the puddle of blood starts to seep out. It's like, no, like once the blood is like leaving their body, it's going to stay out there. It doesn't like magically get sucked back in, and then as soon as we pay attention, it comes back. It's not like Schrodinger's blood pool. But yeah, it's man, it's one of those things where like I'll watch the second half of Alicization. I mean, I have said this before, I do think it's really admirable the fact that they have said that they're going to adapt as like all of SAO for as long as it can happen, and I think it is like SAO 2 and the fact that they like are going through Alicization and all that is really nice because we are seeing this bounce back in the industry with a lot of sequels being announced and more sequel anime being announced, whereas like in between like 2011 to like 2015 we like rarely ever got sequels announced, it felt like. But yeah, so like it is nice in that sense. It's I think Ma saying it's like very okay. The ideas are good, the execution aren't great. But yeah, it's like Sword Online, and it is really cool to see, for me at least, they in the same sense that like no, it's not comparable. I was going to say like in the same sense that it's like it's cool to see K-On! And then see like all the other cute girls doing cute things shows that come afterwards. It's kind of nice to see Sword Art Online come back at like as the front runner for really kicking off the isekai phase. Not that it was the first isekai anime, but the one that
first influential one that like really set this like trend in motion. Right,
like Dog Hack Sign, of course, was like very famous, but like it wasn't on the level of Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
But like Sword Art Online, like the fact that Sword Art Online came back and it's like still doing very well, it seems. It's still incredibly popular. It's kind of cool to see just from like a bird's eye view, top down view of the industry. Yeah. But it's not like if you asked me to recommend it, I probably wouldn't. It is wonderfully gay though. It is like super gay. It's like crazy how strong Kirito's like harem pull is. Where like I think actually now my favorite member of his harem has always been Yu-Gi-Oh. So
and now he gets his time to shine.
And he gets his time to shine. Yeah, he did a very good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we can, if we have time, I guess we can talk about another isekai that was inspired by Sword Art Online.
Oh yes.
Or like the
Because,
isekai
well,
movement in
The
general.
movement, yeah, not the show specifically, but this movement. Like, you know, it was,
That-
I guess, slime
That time I was influenced by the isekai genre.
as a slime. Yeah, so I didn't
actually
actually
thought
get
we were
to
gonna
finish
talk about
this
Shield
because
Hero.
I got bored. Well, we will mention Shield Hero very quickly because we have a list of shows that have not finished yet. But Slime finished this season. I guess putting it quickly, what did you guys think?
Eh.
I thought
thought
it
it
was
was meh.
pretty fun actually. I thought the main draw, like at least for me, the main reason I liked the series. I didn't like it. Like it was like the. Why did I say like so many times? Anyway, I didn't like love it. Right, so it wasn't like one of the best shows I've ever seen. I liked it. It was entertaining enough for me. I thought the main reason for that is that it doesn't take itself too seriously, like at all. It's really, I felt like it was really vibrant and just fun, and like the basic plot conceit never really changed. It's just like one little OP slime creating a nation, and it did get really repetitive sometimes, and it kind of stretched my patience sometimes. But at the end of the day, it was just really charming, and I don't know, it's just fun. It's just pure fun. It's just something that I would like to put on, watch an episode. I felt it was really easily bingeable. Like I would be able to watch like 5 episodes of it in one sitting.
Yeah.
And so I kind of watched it in these little chunks. Yeah, it was fun. I don't really have much more to say. Like it was pretty insubstantial. Like basically like what's going to happen before it even happens, because it's just this one slime building a nation. Everybody will like eventually submit to him pretty much.
Because he's the most OP thing ever. I will say the same thing. Like there will be times for like a month or so where I'd be like, oh, slime, like I'm not gonna watch it, and then I'd like catch up on like 5 episodes at a time, and I'd be like, hey, that was actually kind of enjoyable to
pretty
watch.
much the same for me.
Like, and then I just like wouldn't care about it, and then I'd like catch up all at once. I did, however, really love Shizu. Like everything to do with
Shizu was
Shizu,
fun.
I really loved.
Certainly better than Milim.
She's like, yeah. Like Shizu was just like.
Oh, I like Milim.
I just really like the concept of Shizu as just being like the wandering like the fact that like she was just like so tangential to his life and yet so influential and like so important. And then like I really like the OP as well. The first parts of the OP where you see Shizu, and just the fact that like Shizu plays such an important role to him. And like how he constantly wants to like respect her memory and does so much for her. And also the like not really an OVA, right? It was just like a side story episode, the prequel of her with Kuro finding like one of the demon lords. That happened in technically episode 23, the 24 being the recap. I really like that. That as a standalone episode was really cool. But yeah, like Shizu for me by far was my favorite part of the show.
Well, that's good to hear. You guys excited for season 2 or?
I actually am. Let me actually tell you, I actually have a lot I could say about Slime, but just to make it real quick, something I really like about it is that how comfy it is. I haven't finished this yet, and that's specifically because the only times I've watched it are just anytime I've really wanted it. Like anytime I've really like not even necessarily wanted it, but it's just be like, I just sit down. And it's like, oh, I haven't seen Slime in a while. Let's see what's going on with Slime, and then suddenly I watch 4 episodes, and I'm like, oh, that was a really good time.
Yeah,
it's just really fun. I'm literally gonna do a whole video about this, so to be continued, I suppose. But yeah, I like this quite a bit, and I'm glad I'm glad it's getting another season, and I hope it's 2 cours like this one. I'm glad that this one was long.
Yeah, I might catch up and then check it out for season 2, but I think it's general consensus is it's either kind of like okay or it's at least pretty fun. So it seems like it's worth checking out if you haven't already, but everyone probably has. So it's cool to see that it's getting another season. I guess if we want to talk about another season, we have a bunch of shows that have not actually finished yet, but we wanted to do like a brief status update on. So this is the big one of the season. We got Mob Psycho season 2.
Oh.
We have not actually seen it yet. the last episode. We haven't seen the last episode, but I think we're all pretty comfortable in our feelings on Mob to talk
Yes.
about it now.
And also, it feels like a show that's so good, we might do an episode on its own.
Oh shit!
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So if
Look
that
beyond
is or is not out already, you should totally check it out if it exists.
Yeah. Wink,
What-
wink, nudge, nudge. But overall, I think we're all loving it.
Mhm.
We're excited to see the finale, and it's been a really fun ride. Some
I
really
heard-
good shit.
I heard I saw this really good tweet where it was like DC is failing to make a good superhero story, meanwhile one manages to do two at the same time, referring to One Punch Man and also Mob Psycho 100. And like
That's so
thinking
true.
of that in that context, like they are actually like really good quote unquote Superman stories, because like DC does struggle with the fact that like it has the most OP superhero of all time.
Yeah.
But like with Saitama, you have a really good dive into the Superman aspect of it all, whereas with Mob, you have a really good aspect into like the Clark Kent aspect of it all.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it.
Thank you.
I really like that. You know what? Good job, Fate.
I took it from Twitter. I mean, I made it all by myself.
This is my thing.
You made this. I made this.
I made it. Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. I'm excited to hear our episode when it comes out. Thank you, Siri. Fuck off. I'm excited to hear that episode, and I'm excited to see the finale tomorrow.
Ooh.
So just a hint on when we recorded this. Yeah, so we'll find out more later.
On
But I guess
Dragon Ball Z. JK.
Yes, I can't think of a good pun.
No.
Anyway, I'll just run by it really quickly. We promised a rant and roast of Shield
I'm
Hero,
sorry.
but somehow the best way to diss Shield Hero is to barely talk
wasn't-
about it at all.
Fuck Shield Hero.
I wasn't here. I just wanted
Guys,
to
Shield
mention,
Heroes.
find out next time on Dragon Ball 100.
I was thinking that too, but I was like, no. But thank you, Nix, for being on the same page as me.
Thank you, Nick.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very
I wanted to
cool.
mention
Nix.
Shield Hero.
Thank you, Nix.
Very briefly, because I really
Oh,
I don't
I get
have-
it, Fate.
Thank you, Buzz, for
I don't
getting
have
it.
much time anyway, but I just wanted to say that Shield Hero, I watched more of it, even though, like, you know, on the last episode I was talking at length about how I really dislike it. And, like, having now watched the first core of it, I definitely think that even, like, outside of any of, like, forget all of this, like, incel, misogyny, like, whatever. Even outside of any of those, like, implications, this show is just so boring.
It really is.
Like, even outside of anything that I could, like, construe against the show, like, the fact is that the show is, at worst, offensively, like, bad, and at best, just offensively standard.
It's also offensively offensive too, with like the way it handles like slavery and also like false rape accusations.
Yeah, but I didn't even want to talk about
Well,
that.
yeah, we covered all of that last time, I think.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
we've moved past that narratively. Okay, so I probably have the most positive opinion on this show, which is not much. But I want to say that I think it's a show that has really interesting concepts that occasionally show up and don't really get explored as well as they could have. Like, I really appreciated the parts of the series where they talk about the repercussions of the other heroes' actions. Like, they had the one guy who killed a dragon, and then it led
zombie
to
dragon.
Yeah, and then it, like, led to, like, a plague in a small town because he didn't really, like, get rid of the body properly. Or how the other hero, like, he destroyed a town, and then, like, it caused, like, civil war, and, all these
he
people got
usurped the
homeless
king.
and stuff.
He got rid of the bad king, but then just,
Yeah, so, and then they see, like, the people who are homeless afterwards, and then the shield hero gets to kind of, like, clean up their messes after them, and, like, gets to kind of, like, remind them, like, hey, your actions have repercussions, and you've hurt a lot of people. Like, this isn't just a game for them. I think that's a really interesting concept that could be explored more, but we kind of get, like, you know, we get kind of, like, edgelord shit that's, like, not necessarily the most fun edgelord shit.
We get
So
8-man in an isekai.
Like, basically...
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of, like, intrigue. Yeah.
Okay, so basically when this show tries to do plot stuff is basically just everybody just shitting on the shield hero, and the shield hero being the biggest edgelord I've ever seen. Like, I would feel bad for him if he weren't just, like, the most, like, such an asshole. Like, he's...
Well, the problem is that they can't bring the shield hero up to be cool, so they have to bring everyone else down below him because that ruins, like,
but, like,
the main
even then-
thing. So you have, like, everyone acting really stupid, and he's like the only competent one, but he's not impressively competent on its own. It's just everyone else is impressively incompetent, because that's kind of like and that's kind of frustrating, because you're like, these guys can't be that dumb.
That's my main.
And then they are that dumb.
Everybody is just
Nino!
And even outside of that, Raphtalia and Philo are both, like, terrible. They're just waifu bait at its worst. And...
Y'all really trying to fuck a raccoon?
Lollybird.
That's all I got.
Yeah, Shaw, ever since you said that, I can't watch the show without being like, oh, yeah, people just really want to fuck a raccoon.
My other main gripe is that even Naofumi himself, he just isn't enjoyable. Like, he's I mean, I get that they're trying to play up this kind of, I'm an Avenger cast out by society angle. But, like, he's just such an asshole to people.
That voice was really well done, by the way.
It was. Nyx is the best voice actor.
We might be seeing more of that later. Hint, hint. Okay, well, anyway. Basically, like, he isn't, enjoyable in, like, how he acts to people, because he, like, goes around, like, trading and helping people, but then everybody's like, oh, thank you for your help, and he's like, oh, I don't need your help, I want your money, I don't think I'm doing this because I want to help you. It's like, why are you like this, dude? Like, stop being so edgy, because it's not even enjoyable. Like, we're supposed to be rooting for this character.
And he got over being edgy. Like, he got over that, and he's still not leaving.
He got over being edgy,
it's
now
weird.
He's just an
anyway,
asshole.
Yeah, so that's Shield Hero. If you're enjoying it now, you're gonna probably keep enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, you're probably gonna keep enjoying it. But we're gonna keep memeing
just basically
because that opening,
ReZero, only
that opening line,
more edgy and bad.
Well, I'd put it on this. I'm still enjoying it moderately for, like, I think it's standard
for reference,
isekai fare for me.
I gave ReZero
I'm not as salty
think,
about
and
it.
I gave currently I have Shield Hero at a 2. So
So that would be a not same from Nyx. But yeah, moving on. We also have Dororo, which will probably continue to be solid, because I think we've all been enjoying it and we're all looking forward to it next season.
Unfortunately, the party is
but
truly
I've been
over
immensely enjoying it.
Yeah.
Party is over.
The OP.
Yeah, so I think it's still really good. I would highly recommend it. And if you haven't checked it out by now, it did not lose quality throughout the season, so I would highly recommend checking it out. You guys agree?
Definitely.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So that's Dororo. And then with JoJo Part 5, still JoJo. You're either watching it or you're not watching it. I think we're all enjoying JoJo.
This must be the work of an airing JoJo season.
I like that every JoJo...
we know what it is.
Like, each one of the cores of JoJo Part 5 so far has had that one, like, extremely memed moment. Like, in the first core, it was the torture dance. And in the second core, it was that moment where Mista and Naranja started kicking a random bystander because they thought he was an enemy. And then Abakio took a sip of wine and went to join them.
Oh, wait, that's from this... Okay, I've seen that meme so often.
One of these days, Fate will watch JoJo, but it's not today.
Yes, it'll be the end of the world.
So...
Yeah, you still got the memes down.
I do, because I know what... Is that a hecking JoJo
if nothing
reference?
Else, at least JoJo Part 5 continues to prove that JoJo, at its heart, it's truly just a meme machine.
Yeah, a fun meme machine at that, so hopefully everyone will continue to enjoy it up into the next season, where I think Part 5 will conclude.
Yeah.
I think it's next season.
It's 3 cores,
so
it's going to end in spring. Yeah. And then after that, Part 6, hopefully soon, and I'm really stoked for that, because Part 6 is my favourite, because there was a break of like 1 week in the JoJo airing schedule, and I decided, I can't be asked to wait that long, so I read all of the remainder of Part 5 and all of Part 6 in that 1 week, and now I'm a huge Part 6 shill, and I want to get it out really soon.
Well, you can probably look forward to it in 2021.
Hopefully 2020, because so far it's been every even year. So the first one was in 2012, Part 3 was in 2014, Part 4 was in 2016, and Part 5 started in 2018. So hopefully Part 6 will be in 2020, but maybe that's just wishful thinking.
I think that would be, I think it would be 2021, because it says they have like a full year in between each one.
Yeah, that's a bit...
Yeah, so, but we will see. Anyway, I think that's all the shows we had. I think that was a good summary of winter 2019. So you guys, overall good season for you guys?
It really put me back to hoping that like really restored my hope in like there being multiple good anime in a season.
Yeah.
Like last year, I think I was kind of Ishigami in the sense where like I went home and I was like, man, do I have Stockholm syndrome? Like watching some of the airings last year, but like this season had really good ones. I think for the most part, like was mostly enjoyable.
Yeah.
But you know what was most enjoyable for me, Shaw?
No,
I was
what is
able
it?
to watch so many of these streaming anime and more with my HIDIVE app, which you can check out using, you can go to the website at hidive.com or check out the app on iOS, Android, and on the Xbox, which I actually use to watch Promised Never Weekly every week. Have it on in the living room to watch it with my roommate. And if you use the code down below, you'll get your first month of HIDIVE streaming half off. So that's $2.49 for a month of unlimited streaming HD anime at your convenience.
Huge props to HIDIVE because they were the first streaming app to upload Promised Neverland every week. Like, I'd check them all out. I'd check out Crunchyroll, Hulu, and HIDIVE consistently uploaded the episode before everyone else. So huge props to HIDIVE for that.
Yo, that's when you know someone's like a huge fan of a show, where you're like
I was checking them out because Crunchyroll was consistently late with them, and I get so frustrated because I also have to mod the thread for the episode, and everyone would be like, "Where's the episode?" I'm like, "Shit, fam, I don't know." But HIDIVE always had our back, so huge thanks to HIDIVE for keeping my Promise Never Weekly shilling up to point, like always there.
Unfortunately,
So huge
I'm a
props to
filthy
them.
continental European,
Thank
so
you.
I don't think HIDIVE is available in my country, but I think their monkey logo is pretty cool. That's about what I have to say about them.
I like the monkey.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a huge That's a huge plus. But yeah, great season for me. It really did restore my faith in airings because I think it's cool that even the shows that weren't like the top of the pack, like you got the Quintuplets and the Domekano, even those were enjoyable, even though they weren't close to being
Wait,
like
Shaw, are
anime
you
of the
implying
season
that
for me.
Domekano isn't the best anime of all time?
I'm not only implying it, I'm outright
Wow.
saying it. So,
Backlash for this episode is going
unfortunately,
to be
sorry,
unreal.
Panic. You know,
You're gonna get
you know what it
flamed
is.
so hard on Twitter. You're gonna get banned from Twitter, Shaw.
If I'm not already banned on Twitter, dab. Yeah,
Great season.
but great season.
Like I
Great
was one of
cast,
the people who
great shows.
really enjoyed 2018, even though like among my friends, most people have had a kind of middling opinion on 2018. Like it wasn't the best, but like even me, like yeah,
Is that Chica trying to whistle in the background?
yeah, but like even me, right? 2019 is looking to be an amazing year, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it.
Yeah, me too. Maz, did you have anything?
Okay, thanks.
Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, at Tokyo Podfathers. You can always check us out on Spotify, on Simplecast, on Stitcher, on iTunes, wherever podcasts are found. We just hit 3.5k subscribers. Thank you so much for everyone who's been subscribing. We really appreciate
And also, I have
all the
to
shout-outs
address
and
one thing.
follows.
Since my last appearance on the podcast, Teehee has been added to the Discord chat, so I'm very thankful for that. I have no more requests.
All right, I think we can dab on him and head out.
See you next
you.
season.
Dab.
Bye.
Banned.